What's your first impressions on the lineup?
I don't know. Should be good games. Should have thrown Rush in there instead of Sharp, maybe, or Barracks. I don't know, but
Barracks is pretty good TVZ.
Yeah.
Relative to his like his other matchups, obviously, like he's not amazing, but he's way better TVZ than TVP, for example. I would say.
I put out a video yesterday that Soma is playing on ladder again.
Oh yeah.
He's like, you can still play on ladder even if you're in the military. You just can't make money. But he was playing and he played against Rush 4 games in a row. Just got smushed, mostly by 8 racks.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, Rush is like, hey, welcome back. Guess what's popular now?
Yeah.
8 racks, baby.
Shit. I feel bad. I put in everyone in a small Discord. That's not mine. There we go. Crisis averted. Oh, what fun it is to have so many Discord servers. Okay. Promos are out. All right. How you feeling? You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
첫 번째 경기의 준비가 끝났다는 콜이 돌았습니다. 황병영, 김명은 블리츠부터 풀어나가 보도록 하죠.
Here we go. Oh, wait a second. I forgot to take down the the banner here. Shit. Go back.
Oh, do you sound check? Do you sound check?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Test, test,
Talk a
test.
bit.
1, 2, 1, 2. Sound check, sound check. Making sure we don't make any mistakes.
All right. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I just wanted to avoid a crisis situation. Let's go.
준비가 끝났다는 콜이 돌았습니다. 황병영, 김명은 블리츠부터 풀어나가 보도록 하죠.
Here we go, everybody. Semi-finals of Season 2 of 2024. Let's get it started here. Terran versus Zerg, game number 1. Blitz Y. Let's go.
자, KCM 종족 제강전 2024 두 번째
Here we are, bringing up the lineup now. Royal, Light, Sharp, Barracks, Hero, Action, Queen, Sulky. How are you doing today, Shun? Welcome back.
I'm doing pretty good today, Sam. It's great to be back. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I guess we expected this, right? Zerg versus Terran semifinals, and
Yeah.
Protoss was just dominating so much this season, but it ended up being closer than I expected, that's for sure. Terran almost taking back that lead, just not quite able to do it, though.
Yeah, it's nice to see that the teams are actually like still trying to like give it their all to like try and like switch things up in the point scoring, even if it, you know, falls short at the last hurdle. But I'm happy that we got the TVZ semis, if anything. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah. Well, Zerg has been kind of falling off here in KCM recently, but they've got one last chance. This is their final hurrah here.
Yeah.
If they can take down Terran, then they will go to the finals regardless of their overall performance this season. That might sound unfair, but just a reminder that these players have been getting, winnings every single week. It's not like those regular weeks of KCM doesn't count for anything. It definitely is money in the pocket for the players who win, and it's mostly been Protoss taking home that money so far, but they're waiting in the finals. Let's see who is going to go up against them in that finals, and Queen going to start out with the 12 racks. Barracks goes for a regular 1 racks expand, kind of contrary to what I would expect from him.
Yeah, I mean, especially on this map, you'd maybe expect like an 8 racks or maybe even a 10 racks or something. But yeah, just a normal 11 racks, nothing crazy. Going to go for the wall in. Probably going to finish off that wall with a depot above that depot that he's placed already to the right. But yeah, nothing too crazy. 12 hatch and pool, and probably going to see a relatively normal game. It looks like we're going to see a 2.5 hatch out of Queen.
Yeah, Queen. I'm surprised to see him go for this build as well because, he's been dying to early cheeses from Terran a lot recently, most notably in the ASL qualifier. All he needed to do, he knew that he just needed to be safe, but he went for the 12 hatch. He ended up getting knocked out, but it's just surprising that he wouldn't try to go for the safe route here. He is going to get away with it, though, and Queen... with just uninterrupted 2.5 hatch, pretty darn scary, am I right?
Yeah, no, I would say so. I think maybe Barracks wanted to bluff a little bit here and he assumed that Queen would play something safer with like an overpool or 9-pool expand and try to bait him into something like that, assuming a 8 racks. And in a way, like Queen's called his bluff if that's the case.
Yeah, that might be the case. Well, we've still got the SCV alive in here, but it's being chased down viciously by this drone. Drone just on the heels of the SCV the whole time. He's even going to try and catch it here with an additional drone. Not quite able to get that moving shot, though. Maybe he can, with move commands, actually catch up to this. Just barely. It's so close. He's really, really committed to this.
Yeah.
But it seems like he will get it eventually. Wait a second. Maybe Barrick's going to get back in here and get another scout.
Yeah, it's possible. He might just try and like circle around a little bit and see if he can squeeze in to another scout. It would be optimal to see the scout, but it looks like Queen's being really on top of catching this SCV. Just 5 hit points left on it, so that Ling will eventually catch it and kill it before it gets back. There it goes. So yeah, no more further information going to be gleaned from that. But we see a very, very early factory here from Barracks. So 1-1-1 build, probably maybe to rush straight into Valkyries or what have you.
Could be Valkyrie, could be Vessel. I would assume Valkyrie, just based on what he's scouted so far. He's probably expecting the Spire here. He had enough information, I think, to just about rule out a Hydralisk Den being thrown down. It was kind of close, the lair. You usually want to throw down the Hydralisk Den about halfway done with the lair, but he's pretty confident that it's not that. It's not the Hydralisk Den here. And there's the starport.
Yeah.
Are we going to start a armory here as well?
Well, he's floating the factory, so it can't be Vulture Drop or anything. So I would assume this is going to be, Valkyrie play, from what we've seen so far anyway.
There it is. The armory comes down. So yeah, Valkyrie's going to be coming out here, engineering bay on time. He's going to want to completely push away this early Mutalisk attack. Not take any damage from that at all, and then come out with a really strong Marine Medic force with a couple of Valkyries, maybe 2-3. Try to shove down the third base. We haven't seen that third base just yet here for Queen, but it looks like he's going out to take it now.
Yeah, the Valkyries actually build a lot quicker than you would expect, but they are very costly units. So the first 2 Valkyries are like gold dust. So if you do get those first 2 Valkyries sniped, you can be in a world of hurt as Terran, and that's going to be the aim of the game here for Queen. If he can just snipe 1 or 2 of those Valkyries right from the get-go, he's going to be in a really good position and be able to deflect any kind of timing attack coming out from Barracks. And going for Valkyries does allow you to attack like 1 or 1.5 minutes a lot sooner than getting vessels out, so can put a lot of pressure onto the Zerg.
Yeah, the moment that he sees that this is a Valkyrie build, he's going to throw down his Hydralisk Den, and he has to buy time for that Lurker upgrade to finish. Once that's done and he's got some Lurkers in position, he's going to be sitting pretty, but killing off the early Valkyrie will buy him that time. Also, just fighting down the Marines here early on, if he kills a lot of them, he could slow that down enough to where he can get those Lurkers out in time, but he hasn't spotted it yet here. He doesn't know that the transition is necessary, so he hasn't thrown down the Hydralisk Den. He's going to come in just a moment and see that Valkyrie. And there it is. The first volley comes out on those mutas, and he should be throwing down that Hydralisk Den immediately. The clock is ticking here. And Barracks, what can he do? Where can he go with his Valkyrie and Marine? Or can he keep this alive? We're going to go ahead and build some Scourge here for sure.
Yeah.
But still a few moments here before Queen can go for any sort of a snipe, unless his Valkyrie like flies right out over top of that natural.
Yeah, in like an ideal scenario, we'd already have a pair of Scourge, but there's no way of Queen being able to identify the 1-1-1 into Valkyrie. So unless you're just gambling, there's no real point in making that pair of Scourge early. But as a follow-up, it looks like he's just going to go pure Muta and rely on his Mutas Micro. Maybe makes a pair of Scourge or two. He should make 2 pairs of Scourge to get potential value there, but he might not choose to do that even.
I don't see any Scourge just yet. 2 Valkyrie move out. It's a little risky. Once you get to... Oh, there's the Scourge. There's the 4 Scourge you were talking about. He's going after the Valkyrie, diving on top of that, but great micro control by Barracks. At the end there, he does lose 1 Valkyrie, however, and 1 Valkyrie so much worse than 2. 3 is really that magic number, but he's not going to have that. He's going to try and put the pressure on and bust in here before that happens. Wait a minute. He turns around and starts to head back. He wants to wait for that next Valkyrie, it seems.
Yeah, this is the thing. If you snipe even just 1 or 2 of those Valkyries, it really does take the potency, the wind out of the sails of the Terran player, and kind of like, turns the clock back around on them to try and make something happen with less tools in their arsenal, and that can be quite difficult to accomplish, because without that splash damage in the air, you can just get this Bioforce completely overrun. So he's gonna have to, like, reassess, get another Valkyrie out, get a few more bio units, and then go for the big push now.
Well, it seems the Queen definitely has enough units to take this on. With just 2 Valkyries, you're not going to splash down the mutas as quickly as you'd like. More Scourge are coming out here as well, so he's ready to take this fight. Big stim here into the front, but there's so many Lings, so many Scourge coming in as well. He's going to immediately kill both of these Valkyries. A lot of the mutas have fallen, but the Marines are standing strong. There's not a lot of Lings here left over. One sunken colony at the front just barely finishes up, but it's not in time. GG. Wow, Barracks taking that fight beautifully. I thought that Queen should be able to overwhelm that. That was a lot of Lings, a lot of mutas. And the Scourge did make the connections, but man, Marines are strong.
Yeah, that was the very critical timing for Barracks to hit there. Like, even if it was just like a few seconds later or a few seconds earlier, the attack wouldn't have worked. It was a very sharp window he hit there. I'm really impressed by Barracks. Like, he had like a very narrow window of opportunity to completely abuse Queen, and he took full advantage of it.
Very well done here. Jumping into game number 2 now. Who are Zerg going to send out next? Already with a loss? Seems like the regular season is repeating itself here. Sending out Queen first might not have been the right decision. Alright, let's go.
Man, like, I mean, you can call me crazy, but I've really been unimpressed by Queen's performance this season.
He's been in almost every week too.
That's what's so crazy about it. It's like, even by like laws of averages, you would expect him to have more success. Do you know what I mean?
Right. True. Cross his name off. Oh, second.
I don't want to be harsh, but I'm kind of glad that he's out of the way. I think I have a lot more respect for Hero Action and Soulkey as players right now.
True. All right, we're going to send out the big boy next. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, Soulkey going to be the second choice. A little bit surprised they're not keeping him for the pocket pick, but maybe they'll revive him later if he's doing really well this week. coming out against Barracks. It's Solkey, the 2-time ASL champion. Dude, this guy, he is on fire recently. And he should be able to take out Barracks here, right? Give Terran a fighting chance? Or give Zerg a fighting chance?
Yeah, I would say this is like, if I was a betting man, I would say that Solkey's probably about 70% favorite to win this game, roughly.
Should be around there, for sure. Again, with the 1 racks expand from Barracks, so not relying on the 8 racks here. And it seems like Solkey gonna go for 12 hatch. Oh, this is interesting. Both Zerg players going for 12 hatch so far.
And also, Barracks got the absolute worst possible position for TVZ on this map. It's very difficult to defend the main base with turrets. It's very much like Neo Sylphid, where it's just the expansion is just the main base is just far too open to cover, accurately enough with just a few turrets. So can be very easily abused by the Zerg player here. We might see just that from Solkey. Although he doesn't rely on his micro nearly as much as these other Zergs. He's much more of a macro powerhouse kind of player.
Yeah, just using the early Mutalist micro to leverage an advantage into the late game, and almost no one can match him in those late game scenarios here. But on a map like this, 3-player map, there's not a really straightforward location to take your third base, and you can't quite play normal here, can you? You have to do something a little bit different.
Well, to be fair, though, Solkey's style is very geared around clearing up bio with Mutaling. So he's very good at that, and that will work just fine on a map like this.
Right. But he does have to play some sort of like Hydra Defiler or something like that in order to get himself to a 4th base. He can't just play, normal Lurker, Defiler, keep away into a 4th base. It's just not going to happen. So we'll see how this plays out here. It might be possible. I've been thinking about this a little bit more recently. Maybe I'll pick your brain a bit, Shin, on this concept. Is that recently players have been going for natural bases way more often. And not relying on like a high ground, small ramp to, get into a normal game later on.
That's been my approach.
On normal maps.
That's been my approach for a very long time. It's kind of funny that now that's becoming a trend, because that's why that's how I've been playing for a very long time.
Right. So wouldn't it be considered very strong here then on a 3-player map to take the natural?
Yeah,
and
yes, but you'd have to probably play like more. You could play normal style, but it'd be better if you were playing Crazy Zerg playing like that. And then even if you do have to make a big sunken wall at both locations because your lurker timing's not sharp enough, it doesn't matter, and it lines up nicely for the Crazy Zerg because you can just bank up gas and then do a big lurker switch with upgrade advantage. So yeah, I mean, depends on how you approach it, but yeah, I would say so.
Well, we've been seeing the players take much more often take the bottom right kind of pocket base down there and try to go Hydra's Defiler on this map, but we'll see what Solkey opts for. He's built quite a few Lings here in the early game, just sending about 4 up here to the front, revealing just a part of his hand here, but he's going to come forward now with the rest of the Lings going after these Marines right off the bat, trying to pick off as many as he can here before the 2 racks does come out and pull in the SCVs, manages to get sort of in front there, but loses almost all the Marines, and holding all of these SCVs off the line right now. This is a great start for Solkey. Looks like he will take that base over there down at the bottom right, but this is a good start.
Well, Solkey's kind of subverting expectations here because he's not going for his usual approach to this matchup. Like, he's playing a much more like a lower econ opening to put pressure onto Barracks, and Barracks didn't anticipate this. Barracks thought Solkey would be a lot more like macro orientated, have a 2.5 hatch opener, just a drone advantage, and not really a heavy commitment to Lings of speed early on. But yeah, with this timing's really like kind of subverted expectations and kind of got one over Barracks. And he's actually in a lot of trouble. He's going to have to rely on a bunker and turrets now to make sure he stabilizes against the muted timing incoming.
Yeah, you definitely don't expect to see a bunch of Lings being made here when you're going for this type of wall-in right now. It's very difficult to break through this spot, but he managed to get in there right before medics started to pop out and killed off quite a few Marines. And his, of course, Mutalist timing will be slowed down a little bit by this. He's only going to have like 4 metas at the start here, around 6 minutes. but that'll quickly grow. He doesn't have too many drones back at home, but he's got his third base coming up. He'll probably make like 6-7 mutas and then switch back into full drone production, get that online.
Yeah, but he's done a great job of metagaming Barracks in his position. He knew that he'd be trying to do a little bit of a greedy, like, one Rax production opening with Academy and not have that second Rax online as early, so wouldn't have the kind of critical mass of Marines to stop those lings. And with the Marines spawning on the outside, much easier. But look at this, coming to the main base, getting a little bit of damage done, not really sniping that many SCVs, but a lot of lost mining time already. And yeah, look at this, like, lack of coverage of turrets in the main base. He can really abuse this open position. Eventually there will be enough bio units with this 4-Rax production that he will be able to weather the storm and kick these mutas out of here, but for the time being has lost a lot of mining time.
Yeah, losing a lot of mining time, not able to mine that gas either for quite a bit of time here. Well, more and more SCVs go down. It's the perfect number. 7 mutas were produced, 7 mutas flying around still inside the main base here, threatening to pick off more and more SCVs as a few more mutas are going to join up with this group. Will he dive here on the natural, kill a bunch more SCVs? Or is he going to try and go back into the main, maybe fight this Marine Medic force?
The main makes more sense.
Start to lower that down. Yeah, he's going to fly into the main here, back into that position. The turrets are not done. Diving on top here, right as Barracks leaves. This is really unfortunate timing for Barracks. He's just moving out of the natural while the mutas are flying in. They're going to get a bunch of damage, and they can turn around and come back and defend here.
Well, Sulky knows that he's gone for 4X. Unless he gets value out of making this many Marines early and slowing down his tech, he's in a bit of trouble. So Barracks is trying to call his bluff and like just say, okay, we'll kill some SCVs. I'm going to go for a timing. So now he has to get back and defend this really quickly because there's no sunkens here. So he has to clear up all these bio units perfectly with this mutas he has available to him.
Yeah, this is perfect from Sulky. I mean, just the timing of flying in there as the Marines were leaving, he's done a ton of damage, and he's back here in time. No problem. It was that kind of play from Barracks to pull the mutas out of position, but this is exactly what you were talking about earlier. Diving on top of the Marines, picking them off with the Mutalist Ling attack. Perfectly done here. Exactly what we would expect out of Sulky.
Yeah, this is just like textbook Sulky, like through and through. It's what he's best at doing. No one does it like him as well. He's the best in the business at clearing up these bioforces with Mutaling in whatever size. Sometimes it's just like 6 lings. Sometimes it's like 2 control groups of lings. But either way, like he'll get the job done.
Now chasing down just a few straggling Marines here. He was hoping to send 1 or 2 over to a undefended base. Looks like he might get this 1 over here, but 1 Marine with +1. I mean, he might get a drone or 2. It's just not going to hiccup the economy like he was hoping, though.
No, but we did see a very late factory timing from Barracks, so now he's going to start to feel the pressure because he's got a single drone kill for that Marine at least. But look at this, even further delaying the tech timing by these SCVs getting sniped by good micro from Sulky here, and also coming back out onto the map. Needs to be careful not to get caught by those Marines. As long as he can just keep dogging these Marines from behind, he's going to be in a really good position. There's only 2 medics of all of these Marines, a real sausage party here, saying, and they're not going to have enough energy to keep stemming like this.
No, the tech timing's been slowed down so much. Yeah, the factory was actually killed inside the main base right before Sulky left with his mutas. So that factory is super late. We've got the starports coming up here, but there's really not a lot of pressure that Barracks can put onto Sulky here. He's going to split up his Marines right now, send some over towards the natural. We don't have lurkers just yet. Hydras are out. Lurkers have not been made. Oh, there we go. Lurkers just starting now. We've got a few lings, quite a bit of mutas ready to fight. This small group is just going to stim and run in, try to kill as many drones as it can, it seems like. But he's not paying attention. He will gun down the sunken colony, but lings are going to come from behind, deal a bunch of damage. Lurkers, are they going to pop out in time?
Just 10
Looks
more
like quite a few
seconds.
drones could go down. 10 more seconds is going to be enough time to kill a lot of drones here, but the Mutalists do come back. The Lurkers are going to burrow, and this is just pure Marine running straight into Lurker. All of them are going to die, and the Mutas can clean everything up.
Oh, this is so well executed from both players. Like, Barracks was really astute there to identify that tiny window of abuse, and he did almost execute well enough to really punish Sulky, at least in a measurable way that will kind of even out the balance of power, so to speak. But Sulky's own response to that, like, not only dotting his I's and crossing his T's this game, but like doing it with like style and finesse, and like has really stabilized his economy, still churning out 3 gas. And now look at this pressure, containing him with the lurkers before the defilers are out, and the tech's already finishing up. So once Barracks is contained, he's done for. All it will take is 1 Dark Swarm to end the game from here.
Yeah, that's right. And the factory is floating over top of the natural. There's no way to get a tank out here to try and break this before we get enough vessels. This is going to end here. Last few Marines pop out, but they just get completely annihilated. This is just domination now from Sulky. It was a great attempt here by Barracks. I mean, he gave it his all in this game. Absolutely had some good ideas, but this is over. GG. Barracks taps out, and Sulky takes his first Terran scalp.
말씀드린 것처럼 이번 시즌 총 5전을 펼쳤는데 여러분 믿겨지십니까?
That was a good outro.
1승 4패라는 성적표를 김민철 선수가 받았다.
All right.
이게 왜 그런 게임? 그러네.
Keep it going?
Yeah. That's what we want as well, a bit of back and forth.
Yeah.
게임에서의 뭉친 매체가 이벤트전인가요?
그리고 참고삼아 이 자리를 통해서 좀 말씀드린데 그 임성춘 해설 좀 건강을
Light versus Sulky should be a sick match here for set number 3. Sulky in the top left, Light down here in the bottom left. Retro is the map. Very quick rush distance here between the Terran and Zerg base, so you got to keep that in mind. If you're going to 2.5 hatch, you need 2 Sunkens to hold the 2 racks pressure.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Zergs try and be greedy with that. You know, there is the style of making more speedlings and then having just 1 single sunken, or just lots of speedlings and no sunkens. There is a few ways of approaching it, but yeah, generally speaking, I think it's safer just to go for the double sunken play, because it just, you know, there's less lava investment there, and it just kind of rounds out your economy a little bit nicer than going for the link commitment. And also the link commitment can really go wrong for you.
All the players today are, all the Terran players are doing, well, I say all, but it's only 2, only half are doing the 1 ranks fast expand here with the wall-in. This was the most popular way to play for a very long time until the 8 racks meta kind of came. But it maybe going here? Are we actually outside of the 2 racks meta? Is this the end? Finally?
I mean, it has been going out of style, hasn't it? People have been doing like 1 racks tech a lot more, and then like going into like 4 racks after initially opening up with that 1 racks. Yeah, so, I mean, it's hard to say for certain. Obviously, the meta's kind of like a merry-go-round. I mean, we might come full circle in a few years' time, but we'll have to wait and see.
Right, and it's always good to throw in those strong builds that have been phased out of the meta because people aren't expecting them anymore. So the 8 racks is not dead and gone, but maybe it's not the standard anymore. It might not be, you know, every other game is the 8 racks here.
Well, I think
we'll have to see.
I think the issue with all metas is that you need to still use the builds enough that it's a consideration for your opponent, because if it gets to a point where you're never 8 racksing and Zerg's like always 12 hatch, then we've got an issue, right? This is the era when Flash got away with 14 CC every day of the week, because like no one was punishing it, because no one was adapting to the meta, right? And this is what we need to see. We need to see people, you know, throwing out those random builds more, just to keep the pressure on their opponents so they can't just get away with the most crazy greedy openings you can imagine.
Well, this is really interesting. Look at this opener here from Sulky. He's delayed that Gans to get the 3rd hatch out. This is going to be a very interesting hold from him. He's going to rely mostly on Sunkens and Lings and go into some sort of Hydraless Defiler play, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly that. And this is how you would play on something like Neo Sylphid. You would do this kind of opening, and it can be extremely strong, but there is a few windows of weakness that the Terran can exploit. But with the way that Light has opened, it might be a little bit challenging for him to actually punish this. And with it not being Sylphid and it being retro, this build actually lines up a little bit better, because this 12 o'clock is not so easy to lay siege to early on. So there's no like chance of like an early bunker going up and Marines getting into it, and there's a pressure applied to you. Like there's much less chance of something like that happening. So yeah, this is much safer play from Sulky going for it here instead of a map like Sylphid maybe.
I didn't see the SCV inside the main there. I don't think he saw the gas timing. So, Light might actually be in the dark about this third hatch even being there in the first place. He might be expecting 2.5 hatch. Well, he's going to get the SCV into the main now. And when he sees what's going on, everything will be revealed here. As soon as he sees that layer timing, I think he'll know.
Yeah, well, he hasn't actually confirmed when the layer exactly
started.
Yeah, so unless the SCV sees when it finishes, it actually is hard to identify. But what he can do is see how many drones and lings have been made. So that will help him narrow down the range of play here. So he will be able to suss this out. He'll start to think, hang on a minute, there's a few hundred minerals missing here.
Now he's going to send that over to the third base, yeah. We'll be able to figure this out. Drone on the ramp. That's a dead giveaway. I mean, yeah, you're not going to be able to see it, but why is the drone there? Well, of course, it's got to be a base.
Well, it's a representation. So Sulky's trying to represent like, oh, I want to expand here, but I haven't yet. Obviously, it's like not something that's that convincing, but there is a tiny chance that it would trick someone like Light. It's very unlikely to work, but in the like 5% chance that it tricks him, you kind of go for it, right?
Right. So we hit that 5-minute mark. We're going to have 2 medics pop out here in a second and a big move across from Light here. Sunkens need to be started, actually. This rush distance is very, very close. Well, from Light space to Sulky space.
It's a tight wall in as well, so you can't pressure the Ling backstab as cost efficiently as you would be able to usually. Usually you could just like say, oh, I'm going to run past my Lings if you do that, and then you need fire bats to plug the hole and blah, blah, blah. But no, he can just go straight across right now. So this is a real nightmare situation, because this is the weakest point of the build, because you have to sunken up 2 locations now. We do see double sunken at both locations, and with a handful of Lings, he can hold here, but it is a big investment early on. But this is like, we have to do this, or we could just die here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the game plan from Sulky. He's pulled it off to this point. 3 sunkens here at the natural, 2 over at the third. Couple of Lings here as well to just make coming up this ramp harder than it ought to be. And Light, I mean, he just can't really do too much here. Sulky is going to get his Spire out, and he's going to have mutas coming. Light just going to head home. He's going to have to be satisfied with the number of sunkens that have been made, and I think that Sulky is completely happy with this.
Oh yeah, no, this is probably one of the better scenarios that Sulky could have hoped for. And he's also going to be making this Queens at the third location, which is less likely to get scanned. He's very unlikely to scan this third base location from now on, so hiding that tech there. If he does scan the main base now, doesn't see a Queen's Nest, that could really throw Light off the timings here.
Right, I think Light's got a pretty good idea of what's going to be coming, though. We should see Hydra's Den. Evolution Chamber, I guess, going to be thrown down here as well. Probably start that +1 armor, but he'll want to start +1 range attack as well pretty soon. Getting those Hydra's upgrades really important.
Yeah, if he does want to go for that, which this is lining up for that. If that is going to be indeed what he does decide to go for, then it would make sense to get the range attack as well. But there is a tiny chance that he does some kind of weird play where he like makes the Ultralisk Cavern at the third base location and does a weird Ultra switch. He could do something like that to throw Light off. I don't think that will be the case, but it's possible he does do something like that to really throw Light off.
Single Mutalisk flying through the main base here. He's going to scout everything that's coming. The timings on the tech here from Light have been revealed. More and more mutas are being made right now, but he's just keeping them very, very defensive here as he goes for his hive and holds back whatever Light decides to do next.
Yeah, there's another option here. If he so choose, he could get a greater Spire and also like make just not even that many, but just a few Guardians at this natural location of Light, just to be annoying and to waste irradiates and what have you, while also doing this transition into this. But again, I don't think he's gonna elect for that. I think your observation was more accurate. I think that's the plan of action here, and that was the plan from the start. There are other variations he could go for, but I don't think he's gonna attempt anything like that.
Yeah, this is the strongest way to play on 3 base. It's incredibly efficient. Very difficult and annoying to deal with as the bio player, and that's exactly what you want to do. You want to tax your opponent as much as possible with whatever build you're pulling out, and he adds on extra sunken colonies here just to make sure that he doesn't get broken once the +1 is done on these Marines. And they're in this high of number. You definitely need 4 Sunkens over at the natural 3 on the high ground here to combine with these Lings to make sure that he can't bust through. But he's just got everything necessary. He's made sure that he has exactly what he needs to hold off Light here. And Light, he doesn't have any tricks right now. He's just playing the standard game, and I think that Sulky is doing a great job of abusing that.
Well, the only thing that Light's done that's so-called not standard is he cuts a lot more SCVs than the average Terran. Like he'll cut SCVs around 36, 40 quite often, and like stay on very low economy but high production. So he'll have a strong standing army in the mid game to really try to put on pressure onto the Zerg. But with this kind of setup from Sulky, it's not going to be successful unless he somehow gets into the natural expansion soon. But I don't see Sulky letting him do that with this muteless caress that he's doing.
No, he's going to pick off more and more Marines here. We're going to have Lurker coming out soon. Hydras and Defilers are just very, very shortly going to pop out here. Yeah, there's the Lurker. So you just can't break through here anymore. And he's got the air defense as well. Some Scourge in the main. He's ready for a drop. There's not a lot of places to drop when you're going up against this type of play. Just the main base, basically. Is going to be the first target. There's the first Defiler. Lurkers on high ground here on the right. Lurkers behind Sunkens on the left. Pick your poison here, Light. Where are you going to try and dive into, man? It's not a lot of good options here.
No, I mean, he's going to probably try and like threaten this Lurker stack on the right and hope the Defiler comes out on the left and there's no Nidus set up, and Consume's going to be finishing not quite yet. So there's going to be a small window for him to abuse. That's why we see this positioning. Oh, look at that. The Scourge actually do go down. So if he can keep these vessels alive and get the irradiates off, but look at this strategic positioning of the Overlord. Sulky knows that the only chance that Light has is getting these irradiates off and preventing the Defiler from connecting up with the Nidus. And that's the timing that Light was hoping for there. But with the Overlord over the top of the stack, I think that's kind of sealed Light's fate and not being able to accomplish that.
Yeah, Light's going to have to go for a long game here, but the SCV was shut down earlier that was being sent out to take a base at 6 o'clock, and the Lings are being really active in the bottom right, making sure that Light can't just snag another CC, and Light sitting here kind of impotent, and he's going to be unable to take more expansions. This is fantastic play from Sulky. He's just completely predicting Light here, figuring out exactly what he wants to go for, and he's shutting down every single option right now that our Terran player has, and he's eating up a ton of irradiates here right now. These are all irradiates that should be on Lurkers and Defilers, but they're being forced to be used to clear out these mutas, and he gets the CC.
This is crazy. So Light was being so cocky that he was like, oh, well, all I need to do is throw down some irradiates, and then you'll run away and won't snipe my CC. But really great just splitting and like composure there from Sulky to finish the job, and getting a cancel on that third CC is like disastrous for Light now. Like Light's going to feel really pressured to do something, and he's getting found out in the bottom right as well. This is crazy from Sulky. He's playing out of his mind.
Oh, he forces the cancel or the kill there. I'm not sure which one.
Cancel.
Oh, dude, Light should have 4 bases right now. Everything else being held even, like he should be just expanding like crazy while Sulky is powering up here, but he just hasn't been able to do that. Sulky putting on so much pressure when it should be the other way around. Light should be the one putting on all the pressure, and now going to dive on top of this science vessel. Luckily, Light able to target those down, keeps his vessel alive, and I think that's the one big good thing here right now for Light, is keeping a ton of vessels up here. He hasn't really lost any of those thus far, so he's going to have a real fleet in this mid game.
Yeah, I mean, so far Sulky's giving a masterclass in like macro ZVT. So like, pay attention. We might be seeing something really special out of Sulky. Already moving out with more. I love how confident he is when he pushes out. Like he takes every possible inch from Light, but not an inch further. Like he's very calculated in how far he pushes out with his Lurkers and then throws down the Dark Swarm. And he's so good at seizing any ground that's given to him at this stage of the game. And then he just explodes out onto the... He has these avenues of attack opened up now, and then it forces Light to turn around. And while he's not paying attention, suddenly his army's getting plagued, and it's just going to spiral out of control from Light unless he can get like 4 gas online very quickly.
Yeah, get 4 gas, 4 starports, start pumping out battle cruisers, really take this. Actually, no battle cruisers this game. Maybe you go for double factory, do you think? Double factory in between the natural and the third?
Some Terrans would say like going triple factory tank is a good response to this, but there would be other Terrans that would tell you that that's not necessarily the greatest idea. So I guess it depends on like who you talk to.
I personally think the factory response is probably the best. Just trying to fill up the middle of the map with the big siege tank army can cut off these like little counter-attacking forces with small numbers of defilers and lurkers and hydras, but it's all up to Light here. If he's comfortable just going full on bio and huge amounts of science vessels, I mean, that can also be strong. It's just so hard to control.
Yeah, and it's just so cost efficient for Zerg. Like, usually Zerg is has the defensive cost efficiency, but when you add Hydralisks to the mix with Plague, Zerg suddenly has that kind of dominance, but out in the field as well, and the Defilers aren't as weak in the open field as they would usually be. The one thing going for Light here is this big vessel fleet that you can just keep chain irradiating any Defiler in sight. If you can keep that up for long enough and get these 4 gases online, we might see a Light victory still, but even though Sulky's only on 3 base right now, this Zerg army is so cost efficient, and as long as Sulky micro as well, does good plagues, it's so difficult to combat from Light.
Gonna send some dropships out, but gets spotted by the Overlord here. Also, Sulky taking the position over there at the center left. Another factory gets built. Is he gonna actually start building tanks here? It seems like that's gonna be the late game plan. These dropships, where are they gonna be sent? That's a lot of fire bats inside those as well, by the way.
Could be 12
a huge
o'clock.
amount of fire bats. Okay, maybe 12 o'clock, yeah. Looks like he's gearing up for that as Sulky pushes right towards his natural. This is just like a Terran push, you know, like a rally push straight across all the way into the natural. Here comes the drop, but it's just pure Mutalisk here to fight this, and everything's going to stack up. The Lurkers are going to take care of things beautifully. Dude,
wow.
Sulky is doing so good right here. He's just crushing these armies.
Do you know what's really funny is that like Light's trying to be smart and like keeping his Marines on like hold position to like keep them away from like lurkers and getting baited into attacks and stuff. Then Sulky's abusing that by like running in and like sniping off like individual units with his Hydras and stuff. Like, this is crazy from Sulky. He's playing out of his mind right now.
Looks like Light gonna do the right thing here. Get in between the rallies and the front line here. Try to stop this from going down, but he gets both the Defilers. That's really the key. Getting both of those Defilers right there is huge. Gonna try to come forward here with a few Hydras, but we've got no Dark Swarm left anymore. Just a couple more medics need to pop out, and then maybe we can actually break this position and shut down this push, this rally push across the map. Man, so many units coming out of Sulky. He's got a ton of money still banked up, and his supply is just getting huge.
Well, what's critical here is he has access to this 9 o'clock position to both launch assaults onto Light, but also take this potential gas base. These tanks are going to be critical here, because if he can keep Sulky at bay, he will also be able to threaten this base, deny gas mining there, and prevent any Dark Swarms suddenly popping up like a jack-in-the-box all of a sudden. If he gives any ground to Sulky here, he runs the risk of a Defiler sneaking a Dark Swarm on top of his natural, and then the game can just be over. So Light's going to have to do a real good job of staying on top of keeping that lane under control. But look at Sulky coming for the attack in the bottom right. There's not enough Marines there. Just a bunker and like 8 Marines total's not going to be enough. He's going to have to evacuate. Might lose this command center. Has a Defiler here for support as well. So we'll get some good trades with these units as Light comes to defend this as well.
Looks like Light wanted to get a factory on the high ground, start to pump tanks onto that ridge line and just hold that position, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be possible anymore. Great Plague there on top of a bunch of these vessels, and Light's army gonna have to turn around, walk away. No way that he can break that right now. He's just gonna have to rely on bunkers at the 6 o'clock, and the lack of Defiler there after it's been irradiated. He shouldn't be able to break that position. No, the tanks! Oh my god, the tanks are sent forward! Yeah. He's losing the tanks. It's so important to keep a critical mass here, but he loses those 3 tanks right off the bat. That's really, really bad for Light right now.
Yeah, I mean, he could irradiate those lurkers on the high ground and bust up into that position if he's on top of things, but it won't take long for Sulky to reinforce that position, which he's doing so now. I believe. So this is going to be a little bit of a nightmare situation for Light, because without that fourth gas churning away, he's not going to have that critical, crazy amount of resources to build an unstoppable army. Like, he's now being mined out. Like, at 18 minutes, now his main and natural mined out. He's back onto just one base worth of economy. He's got a bit of a bank, but he's going to get dried up soon. Beautiful plagues from Sulky as well, pushing down the ramp with Dark Swarms, threatening to kill these tanks and some of these bio units as well. Killing these 2 tanks is critical here. Never going to be getting that big fleet of vessels combined with a massive arsenal of tanks to just like run through the Zerg. Like, losing all these critical gas units will just never allow him to come back in this game. Like, bio units will not be enough to trade against this.
No, they won't. And this tank count, I think it's been reset too many times at this point. He's lost it over and over again. He's got 4 more tanks here that have just popped out, but out of mining at his main, his natural about to go as well. And Sulky's going to be fine to keep mining here for quite some time. It's 19 minutes in. He's still got 2 more minutes of main base gas time. And he's got plenty of time left on the minerals in all these bases. So he's going to be sitting pretty here with this 4th base coming up. As long as he holds this, he's in a winning spot here. Light needs to make something happen. He still hasn't cleaned out the bottom right, though. There's still a bunch of units there waiting, and a CC floating forward here. He's planning to take the center left. Is that going to happen?
Yeah, this is the critical moment where there's a big tempo swing in ZVT. The Terran mines out a lot quicker than the Zerg, so we have 4 base worth of economy for the Zerg player, but only 1 for the Terran player right now. So it's a big tempo swing in this game at this junction, and yeah, Sulky's pretty much done it at this point. Like, he's kept the critical mass of the Terran under control long enough for him to get these 4 gases pumping, and now it's going to be really tough for Light to trade efficiently against this. And so far, it's looking like a Sulky victory, but he still has Light's not exactly a bad Terran player, so Light sometimes like has hero defenses where he makes the impossible possible. It's still possible for Light to flip this around, but right now it's looking so good for Sulky.
Yeah, Sulky just looking fantastic. There's no drops or any sort of X factor here for Light that can bring him back in this game suddenly. We're going to have a Nidus over there at the center left here soon. Defilers, of course, popping out as well. Great irradiates go down on a lot of this stuff. And the army is actually looping around from the top side, going to come in with the D-Matrix as well. He's going to jump on top of this. Can he actually break this? The Nidus is there, so it's going to be very hard to get through this, but with the Defiler popping out and the Dark Swarm coming down, I guess these Marines will have to turn around. Some good irradiates do land on the Defilers there, but the Nidus is just undeniable. That base is Sulky's. You just can't break through now.
Yeah, I mean, unless he somehow got on top of the Nidus canal earlier, or had tanks supporting that bio to, you know, snipe that Nidus while the Marines are training. Yeah, unfortunately now Sulky's like regained control. He is actually laying siege to this base for the time being. Will be probably getting the kill on this. Oh, not quite getting the kill on this gas as Sulky runs down the ramp with some Lurker Ling to try and get on top of these tanks and try and prevent this gas being sniped, so we can keep mining away here. And looks like so far that's being successful. He's still mining gas and he's killing some of these tanks.
No way. I can't believe that gas didn't go down there. CC floats out to the middle. He's going to try and mine off of those minerals in the center, but this is a Light. He's going to come back around, try to hit the backside of this base once again, maybe. While things are getting crazy here, he can get in. No, not going to happen. Sulky on top of all of this. He is everywhere right now, and Light is just not able to keep up. Oh. There's the big plague. There it is. He finally gets the money plague there.
Wow.
And this army is going to completely disappear. There goes Light's counterattacking force.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like, getting the chili sauce all over Light's kebab and then just like gobbling it up like a drunk guy on the end of his bender, and he's like starving hungry. He doesn't care about the quality of food. He just wants to get something down his neck, and some Terran units coated in chili sauce. He's all happy for it. Even a little counterattack down here at 6 o'clock. He can pick off these bunkers one at a time and actually pressure this base, even though there's no Dark Swarm here.
Yeah, there's great upgrades on these Hydralisks and Lurkers now. They're dealing so much damage. The explosive damage to the bunker takes that out very, very quickly. And a Lurker egg on the ramp. He's going to block him out of defending this base, and he actually kills the CC. That was the last mining base for Light. This is just such a great takedown here. Sulky perfection in this game.
This is like, seriously guys, you need to study up, because like class is in session right now, and Professor Sulky is trying to like let it be known how to play Zerg, because this is about as straight up perfection finesse you can get without no funny business, no fanciness, just straight up strong macro Zerg play.
Yeah, showing you how to do the 3 hatch before gas. Now he's taking even more bases all around the map. Looks like Light going to make one last desperate attempt to break center left. There's not too much over here, but the moment he breaches this ramp, a mass of Zerg pops through the Nidus and blocks that attempt. The CC in the mid's been taken down. The CC at the 6 has been taken down. One last tank. Siege is up, gets a final shot off, but Plagues are here. Hydras are here. Everything is ready for Solki, and the walls are closing in here. Light's got nothing left to back onto. He's got no mining, and he's got no hope left in this game. GG. Taps out.
Sulky's like the Mike Tyson of StarCraft with the peekaboo style, Jack in the Box, just like, you know, duck. Oh man, I'm just so impressed with him. How is he playing so good?
It's the golf clapper from KCM there. Excellent, excellent performance here from Sulky. Can't wait to see his next game.
It's really impressive performance from Sulky, man.
That was excellent.
I mean, Light's really good at TVZ as well. To make Light look like a child in that matchup is not easy. You know what I mean? Like, that was fucking some finesse.
He really had an answer for absolutely everything.
Crazy. Like, mind-blowingly crazy.
Alright. Alright, quick toilet break. I'll be right back.
Alright. Quick bio break, he said. Man's taking a shit. You'll be back soon. Very soon. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am. Oh, yeah. He's on his way back. He might grab a drink on the way, so there's a bit of wiggle room. Get ready. To be fair, there's a chance that he just like stops and talks to his missus as well. But I have a feeling he'll be here within 30 seconds. Might be wrong this time though. Might be actually taking a shit and getting a drink and talking to a wall at the same time. Who knows? But I'm feeling it. 20 seconds. Alright, 10 seconds, maybe. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and he should be back any second now. Come on, he's there, he's just dawdling. I was right, he's just dawdling. You can hear him in the background. Come on, Saiyan. Don't get distracted by Mia. I know she's a beautiful Japanese woman, you're lucky to have her, but you look at her all the time. Just come back to KCM. Ah, I heard him in the background. I knew he was done. He's going to be back in like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
All right.
3, 2, 1, and he's back. I had you timed down, but you stopped for something. Were you talking to me, or what were you doing?
Yeah, I was talking to
I
you.
knew it. I said that to the stream. I said that. I said he'll be back here, but then there's a chance that you'll be talking to her, so it might slow you down. And I counted it out. Actually, it was like 30 seconds from now. Then when I got to 10, I did 10, 9. And as soon as I got to 1, I heard you in the background. I was like, oh, he's talking to her. I know it. And I was like ranting, saying like, I know she's a beautiful Japanese woman and you're lovely to have her, but you can see her anytime. Just come back to KCM. Because I had you timed out almost perfectly, but you started talking to her. I was like, ah. Oh,
You've got a gift, Shun. Let's go to this next one. I crossed off the names, right? Yeah, lights off. Okay, let's go. Next up, we've got Royal here, being sent out on Citadel cross map situation. Is it possible to do that same style that we just saw out of Sulky on this map?
I mean, it's possible. Will we see it? Probably not. You don't have the high ground advantage of that third base like you do on Sylphid and Retro, so a little bit trickier because you end up having to make more sunkens. So instead of going for like 3-2, you end up having to go for 3-3, and it's just a little bit of a pain for your economy to stretch yourself that thin to make 6 sunkens that early on. Kind of puts a little bit of a dent in that build. So it's certainly not optimal to go for something like that.
Yeah, I did try that build myself on this map a few times, and it seems a little rough. Even though it's like a nice choke that they have to run through to get on top of the sunkens, it's pretty rough to try and stop with the just pure sunks at that location. Excuse me. So yeah, we probably won't see that same style come out of Sulky here. Likely we'll see him go for just a regular 2.5 hatch, go into a base, maybe take a natural at one of these two locations,
and then
try to play it out that way.
Yeah,
very strong on this map.
Yeah, and I also expect him to use Mutaling as his solution to any early game pressure builds from Royal, and yeah, nothing too crazy. I think we'll see a much more standard Sulky this game.
And as for Royal, cross map, probably more likely that we might see early +1 here, and like a quicker, 4 or 5 racks. It's not really feasible to cross map two racks academy push and hope to break Sulky, whose timings are just so sharp.
Right. So yeah, all things considered, this does actually benefit Sulky a lot. He is going for that 2.5 hatch. So the fact that it's cross map and he's doing 2.5 hatch and there's no pressure from an 8 racks, like Sulky's sitting pretty right now.
Yeah. So Royal, I mean, he's got some options here. He's gonna have that mid game time for pushing across and looking for drops and that type of thing, as long as he survives this early game, of course. But I don't think that Sulky's going to get too aggressive with meter or anything. He's probably just going to make the bare minimum, do his best to hold back Royal. And look at this, he's even going to keep the drone alive. He sees everything in the natural.
Yeah. Well,
he knows what's coming.
He went as deep as he could go without losing the drone. So very well calculated from him there.
Yeah. And engineering base. So there we go. I nailed it there. Definitely going to be the +1, quick +1 here from Royal, and no 2 racks timing out of him.
Yeah. And I like how active Sulky's being with his drones. Like, one of the advantages of going for 2.5 hatch is you're going to have a little bit more lava and drones to play with. And one of the ways he compensates for not investing in early Ling defense because of the cross map positions, less chance of any naked marine early game shenanigans of 2-3 marines coming across the snipe drones. He's being very active in shutting down the scout with his drones as well, and just being really on top of everything in general. And I'm really impressed to see all the tiny little min-maxing out of Sulky, and only just now, finally, at 4 minutes, starting to hatch out a couple of pairs of Lings to kind of clear up that scout, keep it out of the base, because he's had it out of this base all this time, and now the Lings will keep it shut out from the base with these initial 4 Lings.
That's right. I love what Sulky's doing with his Overlord also over there on the right-hand side. He's just keeping it over the high ground. Because Royal did move over there to try and catch that coming in. It's a good heads-up play by Royal, but even better by Sulky, just realizing that's probably going to be the case, and not in a rush to get the Overlord over top of the natural. Fine to just leave it there until his Lings are on the field, and he confirms the position here of the Marines, and then he'll move the Overlord into a good spot. But these are just all great signs of a fantastic Zerg player.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue that he's probably the best macro Zerg, in this current era. I don't think... I mean, there are other good macro Zergs. Action, for example, he's actually very good at macro play, so is Hero. But there's something a little bit special about Sulky. He's just got that X factor about him.
That star sense, that thing that we always talked about Flash having.
Yeah.
That knowledge, that deep understanding of the game and the current meta that other players just don't quite have, and Sulky really having that on full display here. Finally going to be popping out Mutalisk and sending a drone, I think, probably to the top right to snag that base. Looks like that's a dot heading out on the map right now.
Yeah.
But he's going to hit a nice timing here. He hasn't built hardly any Lings at all, just 6 Lings, no sunken colonies. 7 meters are going to pop out immediately here, and he's going to put on a good amount of pressure.
Yeah, and with the cross map, I mean, there's not really a whole lot Royal can do about it, but just, mitigate as much damage as possible, keep his zones under control by spreading out his turrets. You see Mihu do that a lot. He'll actually, have his turrets quite far apart, relative to what you would usually see with them all like tightly knit together in the mineral line. And then he'll use that zone control in conjunction with the bio to just shut out any muta harassment. No SCVs die, and then you've got a nice strong macro for the mid game. But so far Royal wants to, you know, threaten the counter attack still, like is standard, but now that opens up the door for Sulky to come in here and get a few SCV snipes and be annoying, which is something that you wouldn't see if it was Mihu playing. He'd be a lot more passive and defensive.
Yeah, this is a little bit unfortunate for Royal. He didn't build many turrets there, and actually Sulky didn't build 7 mutaless either. He built like 5 mutas, so he's not able to one-shot. Wasn't able to one-shot, even though he had a great opportunity to get a huge amount of SCV kills. He actually only kills like maybe 3, I think, total, because he has to two-shot each of those SCVs. And now he's got to leave immediately to head back home and deal with this Marine Medic ball that's just bearing down on his front. I think these are just going to be sacrificial Marines at this point. They've stimmed so many times, and there's just not much energy left. But this is great control out of Royal, picking off 2 mutas immediately. Some links pop out, immediately get sent into the meat grinder here, and the Marine count is getting lower and lower. There comes the last few links from the backside. He should be able to clear this finally. But this is not a clean finish off of these Marines, and even more Marines are going to arrive. Wow. Oh my god, Royal is actually breaking through right now.
Yeah, there's 5 mutas, but 1 is dangerously on HP. So if Royal can find that low HP muta, he won't have the kind of potency in this muta flock to like help clean up this force. So yeah, he's in trouble now. He's only got 4 mutas. He can't one-shot Marines. The drones are evacuating. He's going to lose 1 of them at least. And he might still clean this up before losing the hatchery, just barely, but he might lose 1 or 2 mutas for his efforts.
Yeah, he was a little bit too greedy here, it seems like. The dive in with only 5 mutas, not proving very effective. And now he's been slowed down in terms of his mining for so long. And he's killed so many mutas and lings that this next wave of Marine Medic is going to be very hard to deal with. Sulky, he's known for picking these off, for being really, really good at handling Marine Medic with just pure ling muta, but this situation here calls for something very, very special out of him.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what you would need to do to someone like Sulky, because he is a macro machine. So if you do throw a wrench into the cogs of his macro machine, like we see this Marine in the top right getting a couple of drone kills, this is a beautiful efficiency from that one Marine getting 2 drone kills. That's nuts, guys. Like, these tiny little things add up to a big differential in power scale for the Terran relative to the Zerg player in this mid game. So now Sulky's scrambling, spending lava on drones when he wants to be making units, doesn't have the mutalisks to harass and get much value here. So just got the bare minimum to have some map control, have some presence, and still threaten this mutaling, but means he hasn't built as many drones as he would like to. He isn't on that critical mass of economy that he would like to be on. So we don't see this crazy production from Sulky that we would usually have.
Ironically, the early game greed from Sulky leads to kind of a skimpy mid game here. He built a lot of drones instead of mutas earlier on, and now he's got to build even more drones to compensate for the ones that he's lost, because he didn't have that earlier army to shut down the Marine attack. And it could happen again here. He's very skimpy on his army count here. His economy is just not looking good. He's got some lurkers on the way. He's got to delay this, though.
Yeah.
Quite a bit more than he's already done.
Yeah.
In order to get these lurkers out in time.
Yeah, like 15, 20 more seconds until these lurkers hatch. It's going to be just barely in time if he slows them down one more time, but he's not going to be slowing him down. He's going to go for it, get some drone kills, and the lurker's going to be hatching in just a few seconds here, but it's not going to be quick enough. He's going to do some critical damage here to Sulky.
Yeah, he runs through up onto that high ground there. That was the best that Sulky could do, but it's not going to save his base. And with the base going down, I think the hopes of Sulky have just been dashed. Royal, absolute savage, just taking down Sulky here, punishing his greed, and making it look very easy, actually, making these Marines look insanely broken.
Yeah, I mean, this is... I mean, I'm a little bit concerned for Sulky. Like, he still has a little bit of gas in the engine to do something here, but I think that there's just barely enough for Royal in his natural that nothing's going to come of this. And now Sulky has no compensation for this devastating loss. He's just going to go for it, see if he can do some damage. He's probably going to GG out.
Yeah, this should be it. Just a few Lings making their way to the front here. The Hive just barely started. GG is called. Royal taking that victory away and putting Terran on the board once again. Evening out the score here. 2-2. We've still got Hero and Action on the back burner, plus a revive for each squad. Let's see who gets sent out next.
그러면서 투입돼요.
Wow.
Pretty nutty.
Royal is scary, man. Holy.
Yeah, you can be. That's what's so beautiful about Starcraft is like some of these guys don't always show up, but when they do, they're scary as shit.
Mm-hmm. You saw that Sulky was popping drones during his Mutalisk
No,
flood, hey?
yeah.
Like, his first 5 Mutas popped with, like, 4 drones, and Royal scanned that and saw it.
Mm.
He was like, oh, you're really not gonna do anything with these Mutas, hey? You're building the absolute bare minimum.
Well, it's kind of like a bit of a mini game that you play at that stage of the game. Like sometimes you do a full-on muta committal, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just make 5 and if the Terran misreads it and makes heavy turrets and doesn't, threaten a counterattack, and you make 5 mutas, you're in a great spot.
Yeah, it's a poker game, but
yeah,
I mean, Royal had the timing to just like show the hand at the perfect moment, right? He scanned right as everything was popping out. He sees exactly how many mutas come. Like that's
high level Terran.
Sick timing.
Yeah, that's high level Terran.
Yeah.
That's how you win TVZ, because the Zergs are so good that you have to abuse timings. It's the only way you can get an advantage over Zerg in that matchup now. Like the Zerg have a lot of leverage over you using unit control. So now you need to like hit some real crazy timings to get one over the Zerg.
All right, let's go.
네, 한끈님께서 에드볼 한 개로 15406번째 여러분도 많은 팬가입 부탁드리고요. 임진목 해설 명품.
Ooh, a fantastic game there.
이게 서로
Last one with Royal.
여러
Absolute.
되는 건데 이게
He saw exactly how many mutas were coming. He saw the drones. He saw that really Sulky wasn't committed to doing a lot of damage with the mutas. He was just trying to hold him back and try to get as many drones out as possible. And Royal identified a moment where he could put on that pressure and went for the kill. This is peak Starcraft right now, guys. Absolute peak Starcraft.
Yeah.
Royal is on another level.
Yeah, and we're going back and forth. Like, I really like this back and forth. Like, it's not like just a one-sided show where like Terran's dominating Zerg or what have you. Like, this is like what we could have hoped for. Like, so far, so good. As far as semifinals is concerned, like this is really entertaining to both watch and cast.
Absolutely, and gonna be throwing down an 8 racks here. We are on Troy, of course. This map, absolute craziness. You can't expect any sort of normal game out of any player on this map. But 8 racks, I mean, it's strong here. Very, very strong. And it looks like Action's going to go for a 12 hatch. So we might see the first back-to-back win for a side here in this one.
Oh, it's absolutely possible. Yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, especially if he goes for 12-12. I mean, I hope he doesn't. I hope he just makes a pull on 11. He should. On a map like Troy, I think you're considering the 8 racks a lot more being... Yeah, and Royal. It's Royal and it's Troy. I think you have to make an 11 pull here. He does.
He does. So, it's all going to come down to drone control here. No drones have been pulled to the front, I want to say. Very big consideration here. SCV is going to get in. There's the drone coming out now to deal with this SCV. Potentially. There we go. He sees it. He sees the barracks. He sees that it's making Marines already, so he should know and should pull drones. Actually, it's going into the gas. I wasn't expecting that. We don't usually mine gas here. Maybe it doesn't realize that it's 8 racks.
He must not realize. Yeah, he's not playing like it's 8 racks, so he's in a little bit of trouble right now.
Yeah, you need to pull those drones a little bit faster, get them out to the front here, and even try to run by the Marines, get behind, try to stop the rallies from coming. He's going to pull them all together. There's the big mass of drones here. He's going to start to run by, but great targeting here by Royal. Oh, he's actually caught up against this wall, though. Getting some really good hits on these drones. He's killed, or on these Marines. He's killed 2 of the Marines already. The bunker finishes, but a great surround. Oh, that was a fantastic surround there.
This is a great recovery from. I can't believe that Action was so nonchalant in reacting to this and still gets away with it. He doesn't even identify it and still. Oh, beautiful play from Action. Target firing down that Marine just before it can get into the bunker there. And yeah, he shut down Royal's aggression even though he was caught with his pants down. Action makes it look easy here.
Wow, I mean, it looks easy, but I can tell you right now that is not easy to pull off. Royal really making a mistake, though, I think. He went up against a wall, and kind of tucked himself into a bad spot there. It was up to Royal to kind of dance backwards and keep target firing drones as they continue to run forward and trying to get their shots off, but he gets completely surrounded, loses all of his Marines, and he's not able to get into the bunker. Now he's in a really horrible position. Action here with the high ground. He's got a few lings up there. He can pop out a few more. As long as he deals with this upcoming Naked Marine push, he should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, well, if he's not got anything hatching right now, he might be in a little bit of trouble. It's 5 Marines to there they are. Okay, just perfectly timed links. Look at that. He's got everything just crisp. He does try the same technique of trying to tuck down into this corner to see if he can get enough surface area denial to trade well. And it looks like it's not going to be just coming out his way, losing just barely there in that trade. And it doesn't really matter. That trade was not going to go his way no matter what happened pretty much. So this is absolutely really stellar stuff from Action. He almost got completely caught with his pants down and managed to completely flip the script to Royal and made him look a little bit silly there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was not an optimal situation in any sense of the word, but he managed to make it work for himself and comes out in a really big advantage here. We've got plenty of drones popping. He hasn't made any extra lings that he didn't need, and he's got a ling inside the main base of Royal, just prancing around here, seeing absolutely everything that's going on. Royal is, I mean, just so far behind at this point. Well, he's going to have to pull at something really, really fancy here to make his way back in this game.
One thing to note, I would say, is that Action is a macro-orientated player, but he's one of the most aggressive macro-orientated players, and he has very high APM, very high task switching ability, and is able to cope with really high intensity levels of interactions, and also force very high intensity interactions. So he's not as easily abused in these early game scenarios. A lot of Terrans can get away with catching a Zerg off guard with an 8 racks and just obliterating them. Someone like Action, he's really experienced in both low economy defensive and counter aggressive play, but also the strong macro play. So he can kind of do it all. So he's really hard to take advantage of in these early game situations.
While he's getting into his macro game now, plenty of mutas popping out here. Immediate Evolution Chamber pops down. And whenever I see an Evolution Chamber at this time, I'm immediately thinking Crazy Zerg. What do you think about that, Shun?
I'm thinking Crazy Zerg, and Action is definitely one of the strongest Crazy Zerg players there is. So yeah, I would say that that's a good bet.
Great Crazy Zerg map, by the way. He's taking the base in the top right-hand corner, which you can just kill the assimilators, and then you only have one position to sunk in. Right? If you're going to go Crazy Zerg, this is the optimal map to do it on.
It's one of the optimal maps, plus it being Action, that the skill set, I'm not saying the Crazy Zerg's hard to execute per se, but the style of Crazy Zerg lines up perfectly with Action's wheelhouse of skill and ability. Being an aggressive macro Zerg, Crazy Zerg's amazing for Action.
Now, I'm a little bit worried he doesn't have many lings out right now, so killing the assimilators in the top right, since he hasn't started that until just now, those are going to be open for quite some time. No, he didn't start it yet at all. He's not attacking that, so I'm a little bit worried. A little bit worried that he won't be able to close that up in time, but
No.
he should be able to pump out a few more lings to start doing that here pretty soon.
Yeah, kind of cute how he's got the Ling tucked to the top of the gas, so it's like not very visible to the naked eye. So the Marines, if they're on move command, won't necessarily kill that. Be kind of funny to see that transpire.
Well, for now, still producing mutas, getting into his hive, has the +1 armor on the way, 1 sunken at home. He's bare minimum defense right now as he drones up.
Yeah.
And Royal, I mean, he's going to have a lot of Marine medic here. You need more than 1 sunken to deal with this.
Yeah, but this is only 3 Vex, so he doesn't he's not exploding out onto the map like he would. And if it was a 4x play from Royal here, he might actually be able to really threaten action, because it does require the Zerg to trade exceptionally well with the mutas out on the field. So yeah, but Royal has such good macro and unit control anyway that the 3x might be sufficient still.
I'm worried about this, man. I am really worried for action right now.
Yeah.
We didn't kill the assimilator as quickly as we should have, and this is still open. 1 assimilator is not good enough. We need to kill both of them to make this into an island and to execute this Crazy Zerg play correctly. We might end up losing this.
Well, the hole is tighter.
Bringing everything together.
The hole is tighter, so the Marines funnel through a little bit worse than usual. So it does help the mutas kind of like deny them coming in here. At least. So
yeah.
But look at this. He's going to get in a little bit, and there's just barely enough surface area to start gunning these mutas down. But still, with some good micro, able to kill off some of these Marines, but not enough to deny them coming in here and shutting down this base potentially. And this could be a nightmare situation. Beautiful micro so far from action, doing the impossible for the time being, but that's going to run out very quickly here unless he can get more and more mutas. He has so far rejoined more mutas to this flock. We're back up to 9 now. So as long as he can just stay on top of his micro here and just constantly threaten this bioforce, he might be able to save this expansion.
I think he's just barely going to save it. Few more mutas popping out. He's got a good amount here to fight as well. No reinforcements coming. Probably going to lose this Overlord, unfortunately, but I don't think that 6 Marines can take this base down anymore.
Oh, that's worst case scenario for action there. Because like he got two bad volleys off and wasn't able to save the Overlord, but he does clean up the Bioforce critically without losing a single drone in this top right. This is an absolute stellar defense from action to hold on by a thread, and I really do feel like killing that gas, even though you only got 1, tightening up that choke just a little bit, bought a few seconds of hesitation from Royal before he committed to busting into that, and also those critical seconds allowed just a few handfuls of mutas to come across the field and join forces with that flock and just barely hang on there.
Funny that he's going to let the medics survive in the top right-hand corner, but he's definitely going to kill the assimilator now. Has some lings working on that right now. Okay, 1 ling coming over to finish those off. A bit of a nightmare. Like, that's a horror movie right there. Medic's not able to do anything about that, and the ling just going to tear them all apart. There goes the assimilator, finally. Oh, he actually sent some drones up here. They're not going to be able to get through. That's a little bit unfortunate. They won't be able to make it back home either. More sunkens coming up here on the high ground. 5 sunkens, is that enough to hold? I think just barely.
Just barely, but they're not finished just yet, though. So only 3 are currently active. There is a flock of Scourge to try and dive onto those Valkyries. Kills a couple of them, but with the drone pull, actually, just barely going to hang on, but doesn't deal with the Valkyries critically. So might lose a couple of these Overlords now, unless there's some Scourge already on the way.
Yeah, a lot of Overlords probably going to fall here. More Valkyries being made. They're not going to be very helpful as time goes on, as we get into, Ultralist tech, but, it's actually it's deceptive. It can be really hard to deal with a lot of Valkyries when you're going for Crazy Zerg. Because you just don't have as much anti-air, and a lot of your Overlords can end up getting picked off. It really slows you down a lot.
You're low on lava and you're tight on gas, and Scourge eat up both of those resources, and that's the problem here. So and now we got like 7 Valkyries out on the field. Royal's just gonna start mowing down everything soon. This is gonna turn ugly very quickly here for action. He's still currently, he needs to kill these Valkyries now. Okay, 1 does go down, but that's not going to be enough. He's supply blocked, and these Valkyries are going to start hitting at his front door, and is not enough to stop them.
Yeah, and at the same time, Royal's just going to start expanding all over the map, becoming massive, and Action's just going to be stuck here building more and more Overlords. He can't really do anything with the tech that he's built up right now. Great move right now from Action to actually send his mutas across the map and kill the SCV. This might bait Royal to bring his Valkyries back. No, he's just going to stay here. He says, screw it. I'm not even going to save my CC over there at the center right, or center left. I'm just going to kill Overlords over and over and keep you supply blocked.
That was the critical moment there. Like we saw Scourge popping out, but they didn't get the connections on the Valkyries. So now we still have we still have the Valkyries running rampant now, and he's supply blocked, and he's going to lose these 3 Overlords. It's going to spiral out of control for Action now. He's not necessarily dead, but this is almost critical damage. He has a hatchery coming up in the top left to Nidus Canal over an expansion later on, but this 12 o'clock getting shut down and losing this many Overlords is going to really stymie his hopes of a victory here.
Yeah, he just does. He doesn't have anything right now, dude. He's in such a bad spot. Do you go for like a Defiler or something? Do you switch your plan up? You're never going to be able to kill these Valkyries with just pure Scourge, right?
Well, yeah, but that's the thing is that he has to bank. It's such a strong counter to what he's doing that he has to bank on those Scourge connections because it's too inefficient to switch into Defiler, get all that tech online. While I'm waiting for that, he's still going to take this damage anyway. So it's like he's kind of investing in the hopes that he does keep picking off the Valkyries one at a time, but wasn't quite getting those connections like he had hoped for. And now even the Vultures laying down mines all over the center of the map going to make it even more impossible for these Ultras to come out and get the value that they need.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Mine connection there. We just barely caught it on screen, but getting those sweet mine connections, you just killed like 400 gas worth of units there.
75 mineral unit that lays 3 of those things. One of those things that it lays just killed 400 minerals, 400 gas, like it was nothing.
He's gonna find this base as well. Royal, dude, this guy.
Wow.
He's got eyes in the back of his head.
Star
He spots everything.
Really
He's gonna shut down this Nidus, dude. Nothing that Action can do right now is gonna save him in this game. He is just in such a bad spot now.
This makes me feel sad. This makes me feel sad saying, because I feel like Crazy Zerg is going to become less likely just because of this performance. And it's such a good build. It's just that it's gone so horribly wrong for him here.
It really has. And Action, like you said, is one of the best in the world at pulling it off. Not able to make it happen against Royal here. And generally, when you're teching really hard as the Zerg player, it's not great to go into Valkyries, right? If you're just going straight Valkyrie and they're teching out of mutas, it's usually just a losing situation for the Terran player. But without any anti-air, I guess you can just make this work. You can just keep killing Overlords and keep preventing the Zerg from taking any more bases, and eventually you will overwhelm them.
Yeah, this is just crazy.
Stifle them out of this game.
Yeah, we're seeing Vultures killing hatcheries, a +1 swarm of Valkyries. We're seeing, like, Terran pulling out all the tricks here. This is just the kind of shenanigans you need to really frustrate a Zerg that's trying to go through the motions as he's used to. When you do get that critical mass of Valkyries, it becomes untenable to just, like, try and deal with them with Scourge, but yeah, unfortunately, like, Royal kind of like had his number and dialed it, and we see this crazy game here and really impressive stuff from Royal. Like, he's really, look at his patrol micro as well, just gunning down all the pockets of Scourge that come his way while staying on top of his macro, and he's the one spreading like a virus on the map. Whereas it should be the Zerg, right? Like, whereas this is like China during the early days of coronavirus. Like, the threat is contained, and if you do step outside your door, there's like cameras watching you, and you're going to get in trouble real soon.
Well, full mech switch now here from Royal. He's trying to hold the middle of the map, which is a little bit tough. Such a wide area here on Troy. He ends up losing a bunch of tanks, and that's one way that Action could potentially start to bring things back, because if he keeps killing tanks in small numbers and we never see the critical mass out of Royal, that could be a way that Action, starts to bring things into his favor. However, Royal still has a bunch of Medic Marine to defend all of his bases, and he's still got that good critical mass of Valkyries flying around with the +1. He's gonna get some free tanks here, maybe. Scourge could get some connections too. patrol micro so on point this game for Royal, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's just
Fantastic.
getting more value out of these units than most other players could. There's probably only like 2 other players on the planet that could be getting this value out of these units right now.
Yeah. Well, you know, this style from Royal, it can go so badly against Crazy Zerg if you go in with, you know, not enough Valkyries or you don't control them properly and then they all die. You just spent so much money on something that was traded out badly against Scourge. It can be horrible, but he's managing to make it work here. Just perfect control and perfect decision making. Still 3 Valkyries left here.
He finally got the Scourge connections he wanted, but it's just so late. Like, we needed that a lot earlier, and because Royal was so on point, it's too little too late. He's already exploded out onto the map. He's getting this full-on mech transition underway, and it's going to be too difficult to trade these ultras cost efficiently by the seams of it. Might be some crazy mind drags that help kill the tanks, but we're not going to see it, it looks like, unfortunately. And yeah, these tanks only cost 100 gas each, and these ultras cost 200 gas each, but it's actually hard to get 1-for-1 trades here, as with these ultras, trading at a deficit usually.
Yeah, trading at a deficit here. He does get on top with a lot of lings, but more vultures come up to help. This is pretty good trading here from Action. Limiting that overall tank count, slowing that down just a little bit. Unfortunately, going to run right into a mine here. Does get a good drag. I'm going to pick off a couple more tanks. It's a lot easier to trade 1-for-1, or 2-for-1 if the tank count is this low, and I mean, it is very low right now.
Well, this is how you win with Crazy Zerg against this, is that you make it into a scrappy game where there's small pockets of tanks everywhere and you can overrun them, because if they are in a critical mass, they just mow everything down. So you try and make the game as chaotic as possible, and and we might see a little bit of a tempo flip here, but it's not looking like he still will just barely get that. If he gets these tanks as well, we maybe would see something, but I don't think that's going to transpire. I think he's now still got the critical mass of mech army that he needs to shut this down at the time being.
Yeah, it appears that Action is just barely getting these extra gas spaces online, whereas Royal already has, multiple expansions in the top left. His army is just too big. His macro engine is too strong, and GG is called. Action gets taken down. Finally, a 2-kill streak here. Royal looking to be on fire today. Are we going to see a Terran victory? Hero might have something to say about that.
진짜 김지성만이 할 수 있는 어떤 김지성만이 이런 약간 양상의 이해도가 정말 남들과는 약간 한 두세 차원이 차이가 나 보이는 약간.
Damn, so close but so far. If we could just kill just a couple more Valkyries.
I've felt that feeling before, man. Where you're like, all right, I'm going crazy, Zerg, and they start making Valkyries, and you're just like, oh wow, those are terrible against ultras. But then they start killing all your overlords, and you're like,
yeah.
Oh, I should have made like another 12 Scourge or something, like fuck.
It's like the Terran being like,
why did I save money?
It's just the Terrans like making themselves into stockbrokers and playing high risk, high reward, and but they know how much the potential return on that investment is huge. It's just hard to execute. So
yeah. All right. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, go for it. Hero versus Royal on Dark Origin. Not going to be our final game. We still have that revive in the back. Quick explanation about that is that in the semifinals and the finals, each team gets one revive, one opportunity to bring back one of their players and have them, try to clutch out the win for their team. You cannot get an all kill though if you get revived. And by the way, it's 3 kills to get an all kill if you're reverse sweeping, or 4 kills to get an all kill if you are starting out here. It's a little bit harder to get an all kill in the semifinals and the finals, but
It's happened before. We're not going to see it here. A lot of players have been eliminated already. We're down to hero now. Starting out with the 12 hatch Royal.
It's 11 hatch.
Gonna go ahead and 11 hatch. Okay, with the 11 hatch there, he will be able to get the faster pool, but it's not going to be like a early barracks to try and threaten. So it's it might have been better to go for the 12 hatch. It's just a little bit of a safety play here from here.
Yeah, it's like hedging your bets basically. Like you're getting a slightly earlier pool, but you're losing out on your drone count. So it looks like Royal's going to get a tiny edge in the early game with these build orders, but Hero's just playing it safe. It's a 2-player map, and 8 racks is so likely, and yeah, hedging his bets and coming out short just a little bit. Unfortunate for him, but I have to say, Sane, you're really on top of things today, like explaining like the rule set and stuff. Like you're like shutting down any like YouTubers' efforts or making it very difficult for them to like nitpick issues. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you didn't say about the revive enough times. You need to say it at the start of the video.
A lot of comments wondering about that. If you guys are ever wondering, like, well, what is all kill and the rule set and stuff like that, if you just go to my channel and type what is KCM, I did a whole like explanatory video on that.
You did.
So you guys can check that out if you're interested. And if it's one of your first times watching KCM, welcome. We've been doing this for about 4 years now, so sometimes we forget that there are new people joining, right. But we do want to welcome you guys and make sure that you understand what's going on. So let's get into this game. No third hatch. Can you actually get a 2.5 hatch here with the 11 hatch? No.
Absolutely not. You're even behind a normal 2 hatch curve because of the one less drone. So very low economy opening. You can obviously still play a more or less. He is going to do that. He's just going to.
Oh, look at that.
He's just gonna do that anyway. I love Hero. He just says Hero just says these are the rules, and fuck that basically, and I'm gonna do what I want.
Looks like he delayed the Overlord to get that out.
Yeah,
because he got kind of supply block there. He made like a later Overlord, and he made the hatchery so that he could make another drone. And then the Overlord pops, you can make some more drones after that. So this is a bit of an adaptation, kind of a unique build here out of Hero.
Yeah, I think what he's done is like he's only getting away with this because it's a 2-player map and he's got the confirmation with the Overlord of what exactly Royal's doing early on without having to drone scout. So he can compensate for the lack of drone scout. That gives him a little bit of economy back that he would have otherwise had to invest in early on. And that's how he's dipping into this and like thinking, okay, I'm going to min-max just a little bit here, adjust the build order just to make sure I don't like take such a big of a deficit into my economy early game from opening 11 hatch.
Some high-level stuff here coming out of Hero. He will get into a very nice macro position. Look at all the drones that are popping out right now. 5-minute push is just about to come here for Royal, although he did delay his other barracks, I think, a little bit, and going directly into 4 racks. So maybe he won't push out here at all, and Hero will just get away with not making any lings or sunkens. Oh no, he built some sunkens, I think, back at home, but he sees only 5 Marines and 1 medic. Only 1 sunken is necessary to hold that.
Well, it is a tight Mickey Mouse wall, but he will try and threaten, like, doing some damage to that depot. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Royal turned around for that, because, I mean, he's got another Marine popping out, I imagine, and maybe he's worried about more lings coming into surround, so he wants to, like, get the kill on these lings, because it can be advantageous to, like, even if you just kill 1 or 2 of those lings, it can actually be a big deal going forward. So sometimes it is wise to just keep turning around and trying to get a snipe on those lings, because it does make the Zerg a little bit more scared about potential like early timings pre-muter. And if you can make them overcommit in muters to make sure they're defended, it can be also advantageous, because Hero's the kind of guy that he might only make 5 muters. So if you do make the Zerg feel a little bit exposed, he might be more likely to commit fully into muters, and then your turrets make more sense.
A lot of turrets coming up in this natural. It's a difficult natural to defend against mutas, so I understand, but 5 turrets already here. That's a lot of commitment.
Yeah, but he's going to need it. I mean, Hero's a very macro-orientated player, but he's also pretty good of his micro as well. He's going to kill at least about 6 SCVs, which is about what you need to be happy with your economic curve as Zerg. If you can kill about 6 SCVs and not die or take any damage to the counter pressure we see right now, then we're sitting pretty. But actually, Hero's being a little bit slow on the evacuation and the exit outside of the turret ring to then come back again. So might be a little bit tricky for him. If Royal's on top of things, he might be able to catch these mutas and do a lot here.
I thought he was going to just sprint all the way into the natural, and Hero was going to be in a lot of trouble. But
he can't do that.
As you can see, he just kind of paused in the middle of the map there, and he's going to slowly make his way back, forcing the Mutalisk out of that pocket in the back of his base at least, but not getting any real return damage, just opening up some space for himself to finish up his tech and build some more turrets here. 11 mutas now on the field. Hero has that full stack. He's got a bunch of lings as well, so he's going to be able to threaten sniping this group of bio that's on the map while sort of transitioning here, getting more drones going over to that third base, getting that third gas online, and making the next steps here, probably into Hydralisk Defiler.
If he can... If Hero can time getting on top of this bio before it rejoins, I would have been really impressed with him. But he wasn't on top of things enough that he got the lings into position to set up for a Mutaling cleanup before the Bioforces rejoin. So I'm a little bit bummed about that, because Sulky would have had those lings already in position, but Hero's not as adept at that style as Sulky, so we didn't see that like critical timing of the lings coming in with the mutas there to punish the bad positioning of that Bioforce. But nonetheless, we still have a chance of getting the same thing here, just with a less cost-efficient trade.
Yeah, the bio ball is looking pretty big now. If he can shave away at it, chip away at it here, maybe kill off a few more Marines, he can lower that count enough to where a cleanup will be possible. If you dive on it right now, for anyone who's wondering, you are going to lose a huge amount of muta as well. He's going to go for it here. This is a pretty good surround with the lings, though, and the mutas are doing a great job just targeting down one by one each of these Marines. Very good cleanup here from Hero, and wow, making it look easy.
Well, the two Bioballs were just far enough apart there that Hero identified that the battle calculation is in his favor, because if the Bioball's all together in one big ball, then obviously the trade goes way worse for Hero. But with them slightly separated like that, he just pounced on it and got the critical damage he needed. Needs to be careful on the exit here. If he can maintain his muta count, he's going to be so happy. Like, he's going to be teching fast, getting everything on time, having a strong economy, and not needing to worry about like over committing to any defensive units early on. Like, he can just like play the perfect economic curve here, because he's already got so many mutas and he's already shaved off so many Bioforces.
Well, Royal in a tough spot right now. He's been slowed down quite a bit. A lot of SCVs have fallen. Hero making his transition happen. Ling's going to come in one more time. He's going to dive on top of this bio ball. This is kind of the last little hurrah here for these mutas. They don't really have too much utility past this point, so he's going to send them back home now. Just 5 here, but look at how many drones he has. Holy crap, look at the saturation at that third base. He's going to be able to add on, 2, 3, 4 more hatcheries in his main and start to pump out Hydras just en masse here. We haven't seen that transition just yet, but he's making a ton of Lurkers, a ton of Hydras. Defilers are about to pop as well. Very good spot right now for Hero.
Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare situation for Royal coming up here. He's actually behind on supply right now. In the mid game, where Terran should be in a dominant position and actually like leveraging his production against the Zerg, we see the inverse happening here. And that's a really rough spot to be in, because he's going to start to get contained by these Lurkers before the Defilers are even relevant. And that's not a position you want to be in as Terran. You need to have map control at this stage in the game, and without it, you're basically close to death's door before the game's even really gotten underway.
Almost picking off a vessel there, and oh my god, he's forgotten some of his medics behind the army. 4 medics are going to go down here, it looks like. 3 at least fall. 1 medic left for all of these Marines.
Wow.
A sausage fest, like you were saying. This is not a good spot to be. You're going to be losing those Marines very, very quickly if you try to basically do anything except retreat and regain medics and get some more energy going here.
Yeah, that bio ball's like showing up to a party and there's like 20 dudes and one girl, and she's got a boyfriend.
Well, I mean, we got to get some more ladies in this party here. Looks like he's gonna bring them together. And as he tries to cross the bridge here, Hero just gonna dive with Scourge as well. Ooh. He picks off 2 vessels. And the Marine Ball is just going to get completely cleaned up on the bridge right now. Not falling back far enough right now as well. So he's going to lose even more vessels, I think. Jumping right on top of this, Hero in the face of Royal. And he's rallying Defilers across the map. Dude, this is so bad.
He's effectively won the game pre-Defiler, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, he will have the Defilers to finish the deal and to kind of like solidify this position, but the fact that he managed to accomplish this much without even utilizing the Defilers is absolutely batshit insane.
Gonna dive in here one more time using the Irradiated Mutalisk to deal some extra damage here to the Marines. Finally, Firebats pop out here. It's a great decision to build these Firebats right now for Royal. He needs something on the ground to fight underneath this Dark Swarm. 11 kills on that already. 12 kills now. He's going to clean up every Ling with that +2 attack. Just ravaging the Ling count, but... wait, where are the Lurkers? Okay, Lurkers are being morphed over here. Defiler at the front, but no Lurkers with it, so he can't actually hold that position, and Royal's going to get out on the map. I mean, that's crazy.
That one Firebat did 350 minerals worth of damage, and that was 7 lava worth of units. It's crazy to think about, but yeah, I mean, he's just barely now got a little bit of map control. He's not going to win the game, but at the very least, like, he's got the map control to not die right now. But here comes another flood of attack. Dark Swarm comes down. Lurkers are in hot pursuit as well, and there's not a left in this Bioforce to kind of stop this from occurring, and he's going to be able to both take his 4th gas at this high ground on the 9 o'clock while also potentially starting to lay siege from this bridge location. At the very least, shut down any hopes of map control from Royal here.
Yeah, there's that one more Defiler. He does get the Irradiate off on that, so we won't be able to push just yet. More Defilers should be coming though, and Hero taking a 4th base as well. Ultra Cavern on the way here. Has got the late game in mind. Moving out along the right-hand side. He actually gets across the bridges here, but that's a lot of Lurkers. Cannot engage that right now. Needs to just get a bunch more Irradiates down before thinking about taking that engagement. Okay, here we go. Gonna take this fight here, running right up on top of everything. Not enough DPS from the Marines and Medics to actually take out these Lurkers. They get their burrow off, and the Spines rip everything to shreds. Oh my goodness. It's really hard to take a fight like that, but when you've got this many Lurkers and Lings coming in, you're at such an advantage in terms of just army. It's pretty easy to make it work. Hero dives on top of that. He clears out the army on the map, and he denies map control for maybe a final time here because Royal is just about out of this.
Yeah, I mean, the Subterranean Spines on those Lurkers have been so effective, even without the +1 attack, allowing him to kill these Marines in 2 shots, instead still taking 3. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's had such a swelling of those Lurkers against the tiny Bioforce. Like, it doesn't matter that the upgrades are Terran favored. Like, he's still trading more than effectively enough, even though he did allow Royal to come across the bridge and put him into a bit of an awkward spot. With that critical mass of Lurkers, still shutting him down, still now laying siege with these Dark Swarms, going to be leapfrogging forward in these positions to try and get a checkmate scenario where he's able to get on top of this economic production of Royal and start shutting down the mining here at this 3rd base potentially.
Well, I like what Royal is doing here and just irradiating all of the Lurkers and ignoring the Defiler, because he can kill off that Defiler now. It would have been a wasted irradiate if you wanted to irradiate that as well, but just struggling right now. It's an absolute struggle fest here for Royal. He's fighting for every inch of ground, and he's barely able to take any part of this map for himself. He's just holding on to that 3rd base, but only just, and Hero is continuing to grow. He's got 1,600 minerals in the bank. He's going to be able to pump out an insane amount of units here very, very soon. and ultras are about to hit the field.
Yeah.
Shin, it's going to be really, really hard to hold.
Yeah, he just made a lot of ultras. All his gas just disappeared. He's already got lings flooding out. So with the ultras starting to come in here and tank for these zerglings, they're going to be even more effective. Crack's finished. We got more and more upgrades on the way. This is going to tip more in Hero's favor the longer this goes on, especially if Royal hasn't got a fourth gas and BC's being made right now.
Yeah, no fourth gas, that's for sure. I don't know about BC's coming out just yet. It seems like he's a little bit too much on the ropes here to make that sort of transition happen. Firebats are helping out against the Lings right now. He's going to try and break this high ground, but right at this moment when he tries to break through, I think is when the Ultras are going to finally hit the field. There they are, 5 Ultras popping through. They're going to run up, start to tank in the front line here, keeping the Sunken Colonies alive. More Ultras coming from the side. Where are all the Lings with this? I don't know, but it's not even going to be necessary. The Ultras can do it all themselves. The heavy lifting here of the Zerg Swarm, clearing out this bio and reducing it to almost nothing. The medics die as well, and GG is called. Great play here from Hero, taking out Royal and keeping Zerg alive.
I'll talk a tiny bit about that game at the start of this.
Sure. Sharp versus Hero, our next match, and tit for tat, back and forth. You love to see it. Zerg and Terran taking games off of each other back and forth here.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't have hoped for more. I was saying it earlier, this is like the perfect script for the evening. I'm super stoked for it. Yeah, I didn't expect that as well. I thought it'd be a little bit lopsided. I thought Terran would be a little bit more dominating, at least initially. But no, just back and forth. I'm really, really happy about that. And I'm wondering who will end up being revived. You might see a Hero revive, because Hero might have a stellar performance here tonight. Sulky as well would be a very strong consideration. But I was going to say, with that last game, like, there was a little... It was a critical timing where it was 3-1 upgrades for Terran to 4-1 upgrades for Zerg. Now, the +3 weapons is critical for Terran to even have a chance at killing those Ultras at that stage. But also critically, like, with the +1 attack on those Ultras, it allows you to chomp through those Marines in 2 hits with your Kaiser Blades on those Ultras. And that actually really changes the battle calculation. If Ultras have to chomp 3 times instead of 2 to kill those Marines, like, the trades go a lot differently.
Yeah, just so on top of everything there, Hero. Of course, he had all the upgrades necessary. Of course, he had Defilers everywhere and Lings and Ultras popping out at the exact perfect time. He just was in the zone in that game, I feel. Yeah. And is he going to be able to recapture that here against Sharp? Sharp, much more. We think of him as a versus a Protoss player, like a Protoss killer, but he does put out some fantastic games, especially recently against Zerg as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And these are 2 of our favorite players, I would say. I would say I love both of these players, but I'm more of a Hero guy, and you love both of these players, but you're more of a Sharp guy. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sharp, and especially his recent play. Like the past couple of KCM weeks have been just insane play from him. So he really showing up for the Terran squad, and a big part of why they got some last-minute wins here in this season.
Yeah. I mean, I was rooting for Hero all the way in ASL, and I was also rooting for Sharp. I was happy with both of their performances. A little bit disappointed in some regards, but overall, I was super stoked, and we'd love to see more from both of them as well in the coming events.
Yeah, I hope neither of them are discouraged by their results, and that they're going to continue to, grow and commit time to improve in this beautiful game. There's no limit to how much you can improve here, and we've been seeing that repeated over and over again. Look at this. Sharp is going for a +1 build again. Oh, is he going to get this drone kill?
Ooh.
Oh,
So
he could have
close.
gotten that.
Yeah.
That was really close. 4 HP on that drone.
And that actually would have been a big deal, losing a drone this early to that as well. Like, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, that would have been wild, but Hero able to keep that alive. He kills off the scout as well, so not able to get, full information here. But I think the game state has been kind of decided from Sharp. He's not going to push out. He's going to threaten. He's not going to push out, and he's going to go for this +1, early +1. Same thing that Royal did in cross map, right? He sees that he's not going to be able to do the 2 racks timing and deal any damage. He's just going to get that +1 early.
This is a very trendy alternative to that 2 racks play that we see a lot of these days. This is starting to become a lot more meta, and we do see a bit of a shift in Terran players going for this kind of thing more and more.
Yeah, the +1 the early +1 was very popular for quite a long time. There were some plays by Zerg that could take advantage of it, and it kind of fell off a little bit in favor of the 2 racks and forcing out the earlier sunken colonies and extra lings and stuff like that to deal with it. But there are definitely situations where it's still very, very useful. Here, Sharp is just going to have a nice timing where he can get 4 racks or 3 racks here with that early +1. Have a big timing of a large amount of lings or a large amount of Marines to get out here on the field and actually put on some later pressure rather than the 2 racks. Coming across the map at 5 minutes here, he's going to have like a 6 minute 30 timing where he just has a lot of units to work with.
I mean, Marines would be wild if they came out in 2s like Lings. Can you imagine that, Sam? 50 minerals and you get 2 Marines? That'd be crazy. Unstoppable, I would say. You'd see Bio and TVP.
Yeah, that might actually be a thing. I'm not sure, though. Storm's still pretty good. Doesn't matter how many Marines you have.
Kill them before Storm with that many units.
Maybe. Muta's here, coming across the map. Hero taking the base in the bottom left. A little bit surprised to see him take that instead of the natural. What do you think about that, Shun?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, that is the tried and true way. I'm in disagreement with it. I'm much more of a fan of taking it in the natural expansion. But Hero's like a god tier Zerg where he doesn't even like need those tiny like little considerations. Like, he's probably happier to take it here because he's got the game so well like calculated in his brain that having the hatchery further away, harder to snipe, and like it just works out better for him that way. Everything lines up better for him. And yeah, some players, even if it would be arguably like better on a certain map to do something like that, they would still go for this just because they got it mapped out better.
Supply depot is going to go down here. That turret kind of in a neutral position. They're not actually covering the supply depot fully, so Hero going to be able to take that out. Maybe it's a bit of a mind game here, right? Like, we've seen the naturals getting taken for a long time, and it's a great way to hide your third.
Yeah.
Because Terran players will be scouting and scanning around the map trying to look for that. But since it's become so popular to take in the natural, maybe they're going to be scanning the naturals instead, and then taking the main is actually going to be the hidden base.
Funnily enough, I'll circle back to what I said earlier, and like the meta is like a circle. And look at this Mutaling dive, though. Going to be getting on a few of those Marines that were a little bit out of position, and has 9 Mutas left over with a 10th here and an 11th as well to go back up to a full stack, and only 1 medic there, so can't actually stim that much right now. Can Sharp here, so I think Hero is another sausage party. Like, what is it with it? Like what's going on? Isn't there more females than males in the world, or am I crazy?
I don't know. You might be crazy, Shun. We've got just a small group of Marine medic. You just tell that Sharp's not quite as good as players like Royal and Light at controlling these early Marine medic, but he's doing a reasonable job at it. He didn't get wiped out there at the front, and so he's able to keep like a pretty high count of Marine medic here with which to push out. He just hasn't put on any pressure thus far.
10 more people got invited to the party, and only 1 girl showed up. You see this shit, guys?
Marine's just getting sniped over and over and over again, and Hero just taking really good control in this game now. not the greatest trades here out of Sharp. He's finally going to lift this barracks and send it into the main. At least get it out of the way here so that the Marines can move. But, I mean, we should be out on the map, like, pressuring Hero and forcing him to, you know, build sunken colonies and get into lurker play, but we're just not able to do this at all. Great control here by Hero. Dude, he's sniping so many Marines.
He's on. Look at the APMs right now. Sharp is not a slouch either. Sharp is a very, very talented player, and even he just can't keep up with this level of interaction, this level of execution from Hero. Honestly, he's one of the most impressive Zergs we've got. Not in the sense that he's the best Zerg player, in the sense that he's the most well-rounded Zerg player. Like, he does everything well.
470 APM. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. Holy, Hero. Back and forth between his bases and his mutas and just moving constantly, looking for opportunities to snipe Marines over and over and over again. And like you said, Sharp just not quite able to keep up with this level of interaction, this level of back and forth here. This is every single time Sharp takes his eyes away from these Marines, the mutas are flying in to deal more damage.
The hard thing about playing Terran is there's a lot of times in the game where you're forced to focus on your army and you can't divert attention to building turrets, building depots, doing your macro cycles, and what have you. So if the Zerg player is this good at forcing interactions and forcing you to watch your bio constantly or pay the price and lose your bio, then the Zerg's just like able to run away with the game. But it does require such crazy levels of intense like execution to even put the Terran in that position where you're constantly dogging him with your mutas.
Lurkers are out now, so Sharp, I mean, he just can't make any progress. If he wants to go to any of these bases, he might as well leave the Marines back at home at this point because he's just not going to be able to do anything. Hero must be paying attention somewhere else because he almost lost a muta there, but now coming in, picking off some medics.
God damn, this ratio is just getting worse and worse.
Yeah, really driving that ratio down into the ground here. Only 3 medics remain as more hatches get added on and huge waves of drones start to pop out. Hero is going to move into this late game with confidence, man.
Like,
what is Sharp going to do? He's got to get like a drop or something going. We need like a lotto. We need to roll the dice here, I think, with Sharp now.
I think. But the problem with that is the mutas are so strong, you have to just get lucky. You know what I mean? Because the mutas can shut that down so easily. So you're then just, not only are you gambling by going for lotto ships, but you're gambling that the lotto ships even have a chance at returning any value, let alone potentially a lot. So, and I'm kind of blown away by how well Hero's been able to navigate this. Like, cross map as well. It's not that easy to do this with mutas against a Terran player cross map because it's very easy for the bio to like sneak out or like force you to like go into retreat or be unable to dog the bio constantly. And Hero's just said goodbye to all of those potentials and just completely had control over the game until just now. Finally, the Terran has some kind of map control. We are going to be seeing that heavy lotto drop commitment, and 4 dropships will be enough to get something done. It's just going to be a matter of can he catch Hero with his pants down and not actually respond to this in time.
Hero has perfect Overlord coverage around the map, around the base of Sharp. I think he might have just seen those dropships fly out with the Overlord that's just south of this position. I'm not sure, though. One thing that we can say is Sharp forced all of the mutas into the main base. So there's no mutas down here in the bottom left to actually deal with this, but there's so many lurkers, so many defilers here. It's going to be really hard to get any damage. He spreads out everything, dropping in a long line here, trying to deal as much damage as possible. Oh, he saves both the dropships. That's a huge save there. And he drops off a lot of these Marines in kind of precarious positions, but no medics with this at all. The ratio really coming back to bite him right now. Just nothing here to heal any of these Marines.
I swear the Mutalisks are like demons and devils that are like convincing all these girls to like leave the map and go and like start on OnlyFans, and then there's just not enough left over for the rest of the Marines, and they're just getting absolutely eviscerated.
His mutas are going to come through and just clean up everything now. We do have an Irradiate here to throw down, and maybe Hero's not got this on a control group anymore. He might not be controlling his mutas too much anymore. Okay, he does pay attention to them, but sometimes when you get to this point in the game, you've already like utilized that hotkey elsewhere, And then if an Irradiate comes down on these, you could end up losing a lot of those mutas all at the same time. Now, that's not going to happen here. Hero keeps those alive, and he falls back onto the high ground. So at least Sharp, if he didn't kill anything major here, at least he forced Hero up off of that 4th base.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is the main thing. Keeping the Zerg from getting that 4th gas is critical. If he can maintain this game state, it won't be super bad for him if he can also secure his own 3rd gas. But we see a counterattack right now from Hero to stop that from happening. A play going down on 2 of those vessels, but might catch this SCV before that CC finishes up, which would be a little bit of a precarious situation that he now faces.
That was a great move there, catching the Defiler walking across the map. One Defiler walking across like that can absolutely end your game and just shut down your base instantly. But luckily for him, he did manage to catch on to that. And he will be able to clear out these lurkers here in a moment with just some Irradiates. And that's very good for Sharp, although he doesn't have a CC yet. He's probably going to start a new one inside of his main and just float it down now. But he's been delayed quite heavily. Still, only on 3 bases here. Ultralisk Cavern is done. Hero is going to go into 3 base Ultra. It's not the strongest thing in the world, but it can still be, give him a fighting chance here. Oh, diving on top of these dropships. The dropships are going to start to go down. He does manage to unload, and he kills almost every single muta here.
Yeah, he did not.
My goodness, a lot of them went down.
He did not split out those mutas. He was like banking on killing those dropships way faster than he probably calculated that completely wrong, and he really paid the price for that. There's a lot of gas gone down the drain. Like that could have been like 5 Ultralisks, and instead all those mutas are now just dead to a few Irradiates. And doesn't quite snipe this drone though, so we'll eventually maybe get this base up and running, and if he can shut down these dropships and prevent this hatchery from going down. This is pretty big, but not quite killing them though. Still going to be unloading, but with the lurkers already in position, it doesn't really matter. He's going to try and see if he can get behind the minerals maybe, but so far shutting down any attempt from Sharp at getting a critical edge in this game, and now the supply is going into Hero's favor for the first time in a significant way, and that's a really rough spot for Sharp to be in right now. His 3rd being delayed and getting these dropships cleaned up and not being able to stop this 4th base going up might be too much for him to weather.
I'm really worried about the 1600 gas bank right now. It just dropped a little bit, but 1600 gas into Ultra is going to be insane. And I mean, he just opened up a bunch of supply. We've got, 50 supply open here. He's going to pop out a huge amount of Ultralists. And even on 3 gas, now it's going to be 4 here soon, but he's been on 3 gas for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a lot of Ultras, man. It's still going to be fearsome stuff coming out of Hero. And Sharp just hasn't had this 3rd base online for very long. He's just started to mine it here. He's kind of falling apart right now. We saw it as he busted into the natural. While he was doing that drop down there, he kind of lost control of both of those different fronts there. He wasn't able to drop properly, and he lost everything going into the natural. He's going to go for an eraser trick here. Going to kill a lot of drones, it looks like.
Yeah.
But the return with this Scourge, going to be picking those off. He's going to lose 3 vessels here for hardly any return.
Yeah, I mean, the Firebats here will actually be a little bit annoying. There is a few lurkers shuffling out of these Nidus canals to try and shut this down as the Ultras are starting to hatch now, but just barely not able to get on top of Hero. Like, there's a few good attempts here from Sharp. He's going to, like, come in here and snipe the gas and be a little bit annoying, but not really going to be doing the damage that he needs to actually get a win here. And everything's just so well timed out for Hero. Does shut down the mining of this gas, like I said. It would have been like 6 Ultras worth of gas per minute if he didn't shut down that gas. So now we've managed to squeeze him out. So now it's like 4.5 Ultras worth of gas per minute. But we still have so much drone saturation that we can also churn out crazy amounts of Zerglings of all these macro hatcheries. So it's still going to be really rough for Sharp. He's going to have to rely on Firebats a little bit.
Yeah, 4 hatcheries in the main base down at the bottom left. Just so much production here for Hero. And he did lose a few drones off of that eraser trick, but he could easily replace those very, very quickly. And Ultras are now out with speed as well. We should have 4 armor and +1 attack, +2 attack, in fact.
Wow.
So just maximizing all of his upgrades here. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference for the Ultras, but That makes a lot of difference for the Lings. They just crush through things. Everything on the ground's going to disappear.
It helps. It helps 2-shot Marines even if they're being healed by a medic. So that's still still something to consider. It does help the Lings with their crack upgrade. More importantly, it allows that crazy DPS to kick in for those Zerglings while the Ultras are tanking. Beautiful plague on those Bio forces, but might still catch the Defiler as a bit of compensation. Oh, does save the Defiler actually.
Keeping that Defiler alive. He also went up top and put a bunch of Irradiates down. I don't think that those vessels were killed either. So, getting a lot of value out of the vessels here is very, very nice. But it's 4 gas hero now. And the Ultra number is getting higher and higher. He's playing keep away right now, right? He's just running around, making sure that he doesn't lose too much and that his Ultralist number just continues to grow. His overall supply is just crazy right now. 162.
Yeah, he doesn't want to make a full commitment until his... There it is. I was about to say, he doesn't want to make a full commitment until his 5th armor kicks in on those Ultras. So he makes sure that he trades at full efficiency. Because he does need to worry about the +3 attack of the Terran. But now that he's got the full armor upgrades, he doesn't need to worry about that anymore. We can start to chuck our army at him.
Feeding into the Terran a little bit here. Losing some of those, but... he will continue to mass up more bases, double expansion here from Hero. Ultra's going to hit from the top side here as the Marine Medic starts to push out. He can get a counter attack going, maybe force him to turn around for a moment. But yeah, we're going to see huge waves of Ultras start to come out here. Sharp is actually sending his army to 6 o'clock. Not sure what he's looking for there. He actually needs to shut down these fresh bases that are coming up right now. We cannot allow a 5th gas at all. That's just not a possibility that we can allow here as Sharp.
Yeah, if we keep the Zerg on 4 base and we also get our 4th gas online, it's not the end of the world. It's still not a good situation, but if we allow any more gases to come online, yeah, it's going to get real dicey real quick. Hero's still in the lead, 170 supply to 135 for Sharp, and now the upgrade advantage of Sharp, having that fast +3 weapons timing is now completely negated with that armor online, so... yeah, it's like a ticking time bomb right now for Sharp. He needs to figure out something. He needs to defuse the situation and like try and figure out a way of navigating his way back in this game. But allowing these 6 gases to come online is probably not going to be doing that job for him.
I think we're going to see one final engagement here. Huge amounts of Ultras. The Defiler tries to make its way down here. It's not able to come in, and you know what? That's a really good trade for Sharp. He killed a lot of Lings. He damaged a lot of these Ultras, and the Defiler wasn't able to make it there in time. He needs like a bunch more trades like that, and he needs to shut down a base, though, if he wants to have any chance in this game.
Yeah, if you please tell me you've got Burrow upgrade. Come on, Hero. It's 21 minutes in the game. Should have Burrow by now.
He does not have Burrow, but he does have Scourge ready and willing to give their lives for the Swarm. Sends them in. Finishes off those 2 Eraser vessels, and he will be able to push that away to continue to drone up here. And look at the 190 display. He's about to max out.
Yeah,
Shun,
this is crazy.
when are we going to have this big engagement here? Okay, well, finally some Ultras making their way down to 6.
He's playing it like PvT, where he's just like, like just keeping away from a main engagement for as long as possible. Like, it seems like he's just trying to guarantee a win as much as he can. And it might work out well for him. Like, he's not really like tried to do a big frontal engagement forever. Like, he's just throwing a few handfuls of units here and there. He's slowly like avoiding any like major engagements while also still churning out a crazy production. So, and he's keeping the army count of Sharp low even with those small pockets of units, which is critical here.
It's just funny to me to see like a maxed out Zerg, and we're watching like 2 to 3 Ultralists fight in each engagement.
Yeah.
But we should be able to put together like 12 to 20 Ultras here eventually. Oh my god, every single vessel goes down.
Wow.
What a wave of Scourge there from Hero. Perfectly controlled. Every single vessel is now gone. So really the hope of Sharp here being dashed by those kamikaze units, just taking everything out. Flank here coming forward as well, and again, just like 4 or 5 Ultras, all that's necessary to deal with this push. But Sharp trying to retake 6 o'clock. I think this is going to be the final battle. He's just going to bring everything together here and shut down that 6 o'clock, and that should be lights out for Sharp.
I mean, even with like half of his army, he could probably kill Sharp. So yeah, this is going to be really rough really soon. I mean, there's a handful of vessels, and there's a strong enough bioforce that he won't just die to like a pocket of units, but it doesn't matter. Like, he's going to start getting counterattacked here on the right hand side, force the army to turn around to deal with this, or go for a counterattack. The counterattack wouldn't work because there's already a mass amount of units at that rally point, and even if he does turn around to clean up, he's going to lose the economic curve of the game very soon. So yeah, everything is just geared up for Hero securing this win here, and he's doing it very tactfully. He's very composed. There's no like rushing to get things done here. This is very methodical and like a slow burner of a game in how he's winning, but it's really well thought out and executed.
I totally agree. Look at this. He even runs the Ultras out of here when he sees the Marines return. So he gets maximum damage out of those units, and then he continues to build up that Ultralist count and not allow these to fall. He comes in as soon as the Marines and Medics are out of position, shuts down this base at 6 o'clock again. This is one of the most methodical takedowns I've seen from a Zerg player. He's really just pulling them apart piece by piece. Whereas I think a lot of Zerg players would just want to ball up their army into a huge mass, and with 90 supply advantage, just run over the Terran player, whether that be in the natural or just smash through the army.
Yeah, the instinct is to be like Mike Tyson and like really just like hammer your advantage, but he's being more like Floyd Mayweather and just like completely wearing him down with defensive, tactical, thought out play, and he is going to be able to shut down some of these bases, but it's too little too late. Like, he's mining at all these other bases already, and he shut down this 4th base from coming online. Just one base of economy here for Sharp to like for 4 of Heroes here. So yeah, this is not going to go Heroes way, not going to go Sharp's way like anytime soon.
That was a great final attack here, a great final attempt from Sharp. All the remainder of the units will be cleaned up though, and he does not have that extra base online. He's still kind of hanging in there a little bit, but Hero, just such a massive advantage. You know, double the supply here, 144 to just 72. The Ling number is getting insane. The Ultras are spawning out once again. He does retake that base over in the top left. 26 minutes, so he's out of gas in the main and natural, and potentially down in the 3rd base as well here soon. Yeah. But yeah, it's just not enough. GG is called. Sharp taps out, and Terran going to be forced to use their first revive here. Who are they going to bring back? I'm thinking it's Royal. What do you think, Shun?
I mean, I'm thinking Royal as well.
Yeah, Royal looking really, really good in his previous games, but we're about to find out. Let's jump into that next one.
이렇게 외치는 게 또 마지막이 될 수도 있거든요. KCM 종족 최강전 2024 시즌 2
Light.
Yep. They're reviving experience over performance.
Oh.
Well,
I'm surprised.
To be fair, like, Light is held in like a certain reverence that most pros aren't held in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people's attitudes towards Light is like, Light's like super scary and super good. Like that's the general consensus. Even if they do have good results against him in events, like, it doesn't matter. People seem to still fear him for whatever reason. Like, he has like an aura about him. I guess because of the past days where he was so dominant. Like, he was one of the few players that was like consistently getting all kills during the pro gamer house days.
Yeah, maybe it's like a bit of a aura flash as well, you know, having that one Terran player who's really scary. I don't know.
It does seem to be that way. Well, Light isn't like a macro Terran in that regard. Like, Light's actually like really low eco Terran. He cuts SCVs really early on, like I said previously. Like,
maybe that's just in
that's just
Terran
TV.
versus
Yeah.
Protoss.
Yeah. Obviously, he has different. That's one thing that's cool about him is that he has a very different approach to the game depending on what matchup it is. Not a lot of players are like that. They have a kind of similar approach to the game, almost regardless of the matchup. You know, just whatever the meta is.
All right, quick bathroom break. I'll be right back.
I'll grab a drink. I'm back. It'll be another like 30 seconds. Actually, a bit longer, like 40. Mind you, I was really quick. It's like within a minute. Between 30 and 60, let's say. Yeah, I'd say now within 30 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any longer than usual. Maybe he's talking to me again. To be fair, I was really quick. I didn't make a coffee or anything. I just like grabbed a quick drink and came straight back. So maybe I miscalculated how long I took. I'm probably off by like a minute. Because I was way quicker than I thought I'd be. I considered having a piss and I didn't. So maybe that's where the miscalculation comes from. Or maybe he's trying to meta me and he's like, usually I call it right, so he's going to take extra long just to be a sausage monkey. But that would be then my fault for not anticipating that. Yeah, he got us this time. He said quick bathroom break, so I thought he was going to go take a piss and get a drink on the way back. But I bet you this motherfucker did a lot more than that. How much you want to bet? I bet you he's talking to me again. He'll be back in 10 seconds though. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And he's not, because he's still talking to me. I guess it's possible he also like decided to make tea or something. He does that occasionally. But him taking this long after saying quick bio break, he's probably talking to me. I can't blame him. It's not like this has to be done right this second. Taking a few extra minutes is not a big deal. But it does. Yo, we talking to me again?
No.
What are you doing this time?
I grabbed something from the fridge.
I knew you did something different. I thought I calculated it. You said quick bio break, so I thought, okay, if that's true, then you're going to take a piss and then maybe get a water or on the way back, like. But yeah.
Took a dump. If you must know.
Yes, I knew there was something else. That wasn't no quick bio break.
See, Pete and Boss put out another song, Bish Bash Bosh.
I ain't seen that. I need to check it out.
It was like 7 hours ago, so brand new, spanking new, brand spanking new.
Cool,
Yeah.
blimey, Gov. I'll have to check out their poxy little song later. You know what I mean? So you got your Walter.
Right.
You ready to go?
Yeah, let's go. Oh.
Let's bring up the bar. Yeah.
I guess I need to.
And change.
I guess I need to alter it here.
Yeah, you need to change.
I thought they were going with no bar.
Yeah, cross out sharp, relight up. Yeah, relight up light, so to speak. It'd be kind of cool if you had your own like little lifeline graphic where it was like a little tiny indicator to show that when the lifeline is used or something, but we can maybe talk about it another time.
Let me see here.
Or is there any way you can like do something to light instead of crossing light out, doing something to indicate that he's the revive, like putting like a green circle around him, I don't know, or green rectangle around him or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, something like that.
Go with this.
There you go. I mean, similar line of thinking.
All right, let's go. Wow, bringing back light here. I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see Royal revived, but there you have it. Light going to be hit with that revive. Last chance here for Terran. Would be a shame to see Terran go down and Zerg go into the finals with the performance recently out of these two squads.
Well, what I'd love to happen now is a really good game that Light wins, and it's such a good game that they revive Hero and we have a rematch. That'd be like ideal scenario for me watching, but we'll have to see what transpires. Very early SEV coming out though for 8 racks.
Yeah, going to put on the pressure here. And I definitely understand the thinking. Zerg players today have been going for altogether too many 12 hatches, don't you think, Shun?
Yeah, and I do agree with that. But this might be the game that Hero throws out a 9 pool or 11 pool. We never know. We'll have to see. No 9 pool just yet. But we'll, also I would like to point out, like, I kind of agree with the Light choice. Even though Royal's been performing really well, Light has an aura about him that these players can't seem to ignore. Like, there's that kind of, like, we were just saying off air, like, that sort of flash-like aura, and, like, they just seem to respect him so much. And, like, back in the day, he was one of the players that was getting all kills left, right, and center in Pro League days, so not really not really like, you know, hard to wrap your head around why they think that, but they seem to really double down on how much respect they give to Light, and he is one of the most experienced players out there, and especially on the live stage. So the fact this isn't a live stage kind of negates a little bit of his experience, but I can see why they would want to revive such a TVZ specialist and someone with such experience.
Going for experience here over recent performance.
Yeah.
Understandable decision. Light. Going to be putting this pressure on with the 8 racks, and spotted immediately. 2 shots come out from that drone, so getting that little bit of extra damage might become a factor here. Just send that drone all the way back and pull. Looks like 8 drones here to the front. This is a great response from Hero. Can he get past the bunker? Can he stop the bunker here? This is excellent timing. This is much better than what we saw out of Action, and Action was able to hold. So hopefully Hero can hold this as well. Looks like he's just going to gun down that bunker. Instantly goes down, and now going to dive here on top of the Marines. 1 drone will be targeted. Will he pull back the second drone that gets targeted? No. Second drone goes down. 3rd drone falls as well. Now things are starting to get out of control. 4th drone. This is looking really bad now for Hero. 4 drones, pretty darn rough. He's trying to dive on top. And a 5th drone? Okay, things are just completely out of control now.
I mean, you almost have to go Jelizerg here and like send the drones to attack and make lings, but because he didn't make any lings behind this, that's not even an option. I mean, this is devastating damage to Hero early game. I mean, yeah, guys, we might see a real back and forth semi-finals here. This is crazy. The games have literally just gone like tit for tat, and this might not be any different.
You can just see how 8 racks became such a popular build. It punishes so well. It's so hard to control drones early game. Get them to actually dive on top of the Marines properly and deal that damage and pull back the injured drones. Just such a refined skill that players are still trying to work out the optimal solution to, and Hero just not able to deal with that properly. I mean, he killed the bunker. Wouldn't it have been prudent to maybe pull back after finishing that off, stopping that, start a sunken colony or something?
I mean, yeah, but there is the Hero wanted to do the lingless option. So, like, as far as he's concerned, I want to get on top of your Marines and kill some Marines and get compensation for losing all this mining time because I didn't have to make links. Yeah. So that's the problem. Because we didn't make those early lings, and then, yeah, we paid the price because we lost just too many drones. So it's unfortunate that could have gone really Hero's way still. It's not like that was a bad choice per se. It's just that he tried to get away with a little bit of a greedy option and just it fell flat on its face.
Well, he's trying to get away with some more greed here, and I think Light going to be able to come in and punish. He's only built 4 lings, and there's 5 Marines coming into the natural.
Yeah.
This presents a real threat to Hero, and we're going to be able to go behind the mineral patches potentially. Gunning down drones right now is just so painful. He was trying to cut corners here. Oh, this is a great spot, though, for Hero. Look at this. Clearing this up insanely well. He doesn't even lose a single drone.
That's probably about as good as that could have gone for Hero. Yeah, like, that's a little bit of evening of the scales. Just slightly. Like, still, this is not good for Hero by any stretch of the word, but that actually changes things a lot. Yeah, like, this is no longer like Light can just dominate Hero and make Hero look silly. This is now like actually Hero has a chance at like turning this into his game.
That's what we like to see. We've got a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. He's gonna dive here in the front. We saw that play against Barracks. It worked out much better.
Yeah.
Right before the medic pops out. It's a good time to try and jump in and kill a couple of Marines, but doesn't work out as well here against Light.
Oh,
and
wow.
5 racks.
Yeah.
Dude, we never see this play anymore. This is so rare to get 5 racks.
We usually can't. You have to cut Marines to usually go for this, but because he did so much damage to Hero, the relative timings of the game have been shifted enough to allow for this to be an option.
It used to be so standard,
but
the 5 racks play.
Yeah, against 3 hatch especially, yeah, it was like a very standard way of playing. Against 2.5 hatch, it's not quite as good, but if you can cut Marines, you can still do it. It's just not super optimal. It does really slow down your tech. It's a very like all-in way of playing Terran in this matchup. But with certain game states, it's more semi all in because you don't actually have to kill the Zerg. You just have to trade well, do damage, deny the third, and put on a lot of pressure. And he's already done a lot of damage to the economy of Hero early on, so he's already kind of geared up to go for this anyway. So he won't really be punished as long as he doesn't trade badly.
Yeah, he's gonna have so much medic marine on the field. It's gonna be wild.
Yeah.
We just haven't seen this type of play for so long. We're not going to be kind of used to it here, but maybe the same thing can be said about Hero, right? Maybe he'll expect, 3-4 racks or something like that in a faster factory. He just won't be ready for, a lot of Zerg players are going for like just 5-6 mutas and then building up a bunch of drones and getting their extra base. And if you end up doing that here against Light, he's going to have so many Marines and Medics, he's just going to punch right through. There's no way that you can dive on top of his Marine and Medic with Ling Muta in that case.
Yeah, and because of how weak the initial Muta force has been, the Marines are also forcing a lot of Sunken. So Hero, to his credit, identifies the threat. He understands that this is what's happening. That's why we see such a huge commitment into Sunken. It's maybe a little bit of a over-commitment, you could argue. Maybe 4 would be okay here, but Heroes also identifies how serious the situation is. He's going to build a shit ton of Sunkens and then try and get counter damage with the mutas to try and thread the needle of this economic curve of the game to both deny any counter attack potential and keep Light being the defender here and try and get some life back in this game. And so far it's going okay for him, but honestly he's not out of the woods yet.
Killing Marines here though is just a drop in the bucket, right? Every time you see him trade health on the mutas and kills on the mutas for a few Marines here and there, it's exactly what Light wants, right? He's just gonna be pumping out so many Marines that every single time a trade happens, it's gonna be kind of in his favor.
Right.
What I think he wanted to do was build all of these Sunkens and then go across the map with a huge clutch of mutas and just start picking off SCVs and slowing down Light, but he wasn't able to get in there.
Yeah.
He's just sitting here way back, and I mean, this looks like a lot of Sunkens, but with the +1 and this many Marines, you might actually be able to break through.
Yeah, it's actually possible he can actually break here. I know it sounds crazy, but there's enough medics, there's enough Marines that he can actually smash this, and especially if the mutas aren't around to come in right away and help. They are actually right nearby though, so he's not going to pull the trigger on that, just going to kill the Overlord. But he is forcing more Sunkens, and has to be said though, he only recently started this factory. The factory's only just now finishing up, so he's only just now able to either do a tank push, since there's no Queen's Nest, or he can go straight into Vessels, and he's probably going to go straight into Vessels.
Yeah, might as well go for the Vessel play. It's much more like... Oh my god, he's getting caught here in the back. Oh no. So many mutas going to go down here. Quite a lot of Marines actually falling as well. Taking a pretty decent trade, but eventually this trade is going to go sour as the mutas get lower and lower on that HP. Coming back in again, which is 6 Marines this time, or 6 mutas this time. Oh, another big flood of mutas coming in. Maybe he can start to break the main.
Yeah, no, he wants to commit to the main while using... This is exactly what I thought Hero was going for. This big sunken wall while doing a lot of muta pressure. And this is one of the ways he can come back into this game a little bit, purely based on how late the tech is of these starports. So it's going to be a little bit of time before those irradiates become relevant. Usually it's about 11 minutes, and now it's going to be pushed all the way back to closer to 12 minutes. So there's a big window here for Hero to abuse this situation. But he's, like I said, he's not out of the woods yet. He's making good moves, but he's certainly still got a hill to climb.
Yeah, he's getting caught in between the two groups of Marines, but he identifies one group of Marines as a lot lower in number. The one on the right-hand side had hardly any Marines, no medics with that either. So he ends up clearing out a few more Marines and killing off a few more SCVs as well. But transition is starting here for Hero. This base down in the bottom right, I mean, how did this not get scouted? Light has such a big force on the map, and he's just sitting out in front of the natural, letting this base go up. That could actually bring Hero back in the game, just the fact that Light doesn't know about this.
It's because of how heavy the interactions were in the main base. That's one of the things that Hero's so good at doing. Even when he's in a... Think of how bad of a situation Hero was in the early game. He had, nothing. and he's turned it into this. Like, this guy is like genius levels of Zerg.
Gonna come forth with a lot of links now. Taking this engagement, is the Marine count low enough? He's targeting down as many mutalists as he can. He's gonna kill like every muta here. Light taking a great trade, and GG is called. Wow, Hero gambling at all that he could kill that, and it just wasn't enough. He's just gonna tap out.
It's actually it's actually a misplay from Hero, because like the Link streaming in, if he had like synchronized that attack just a little bit more cautiously and allowed those like Link streaming in to be a little bit more synchronized with the initial Muta Force, like that actually could have gone on Hero's way very quickly.
Very tough situation now. There though, no matter which way you split it, Light was in a great spot.
Absolutely.
Hero tries his best to bring it back. He puts on a good show. Will he be the one revived here? I'd love to see another rematch between him and Light. I'd also love to see Soulkey versus Light here. That would be a lot of fun to watch again. Let's see who they decide to bring out. Our final game coming right up. Soulkey.
I thought so.
Let's go. Just a sec, I need to...
No worries. If it was a closer game, if it was a much closer game where Hero was looking like he had winning positions a lot more convincingly, then it would have been maybe a Hero revive. But yeah, without
we don't need this anymore.
Need what? Oh, you mean?
Oh, wait, they kept the bar up? Why? This is the last game.
Look at the way they've got the bar though. They've got it highlighted with green and stuff.
Yeah, but why?
To indicate. So I guess if someone was tuning in, right? I know it sounds silly, but like it's like a aesthetic thing, isn't it?
Well, shit, I'm not gonna do it because I just I closed the file and now I can't undo and get rid of the lines.
Well,
all right,
we can learn Korean. They
we're
can
just
look
gonna
what
go
the
with
names
this.
look like in Korean for a change.
Yeah. All right, we'll just go with this. Soulkey gonna be the revive here. Can't say I'm unhappy about it, but Troy is our last map, Shun.
Yeah, I mean, this could get wild. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Sparks could fly, so to speak.
I imagine so, but I'm just really shocked to see this be the decider whether Zerg or Terran goes to the final match. Troy here, Light versus Soulkey. I mean, the matchup is great, but the map, I would have loved to see like Citadel or something played out here between these two.
Yeah, maybe so. But Troy can make for some very interesting game states, so I'm hoping we'll at very least have a very interesting game to cast and watch here.
8 racks once again from Light, so he's going to put on that early pressure. Seems standard on this map specifically to go for that 8 racks. Like, you got to put on that early pressure. You got to have that. You have that opportunity to potentially, take over the natural and kill the assimilators. You got to go for it.
I think you do. And I also think you have to keep Zergs from like being so confident with the 2.5 or 12 hatch openings. So, but it looks like Soulkey still not going to care. Just going to throw down that 12 hatch. Let's see if he goes to the 2.5, because if he doesn't make a pull on 11, then yeah, could take a lot of damage here. But he will be getting the first scout with the Overlord, which is actually pretty critical. He sees the SCVs. He knows.
He must know, right? Let's see if he builds a gas here. If he doesn't build the gas, then he knows.
Well, he knows the timing of the SCVs relative to when the rack... like, usually you send the rack scouting SCV, but because the racks finished earlier, he knows relative to the racks... like, that was an earlier scout timing. So, yeah, he should be able to identify that was 8 racks immediately.
He starts the gas. Cancels.
Yeah, he wanted to
confirm. I think he knows now.
Yeah, he wanted to confirm. I guess he wasn't 100% sure and wanted to confirm with the drone scout.
Well, he's going to pull the drones now. Let's see what he can do against these Marines. Let's see what the control looks like. Is it going to be better than what we saw at a Hero? Surrounding the bunker here. He can get the kill, looks like. Does get the cancel, actually. Like going to be backing off. The move commands here, not the greatest for Sulky actually gets the drones kind of dancing on each other. Now going to come forward. One drone has died. Second drone going to go down here. Third drone going to be targeted. Fourth drone going to be targeted as well. Doesn't go down. There it is. He gets the fourth drone. And this is already a success here for Light. Not as much of a success as against Hero there, but still a full-on success here for Light.
Yeah, you need 2 drone kills to be even. 3 is a pretty big advantage, and 4 is just like, yeah, you're pretty wildly far ahead. He did get all the Marine kills and 1 SCV as compensation, so it's not like end of the world. If these 6 slings put on pressure, maybe you could argue that the scales aren't too Light favored, but unless Light should be able to actually hold this. If he starts the, please tell me you're not just going to start the CC. Block the gap. Okay, for a second there, I thought he was going to start the CC without even blocking the gap, and I was worried for him.
Yeah, that looks scary for a second, but he does get into place in time, and I'm a little bit shocked that we didn't see drones being produced. Like, when I saw those lings, my heart kind of fell for Sulky here, because if you're going to do like a drone defense like that, and you're just not going to build lings. Just don't build lings and just go for mass drone behind it. It gets you in such a better position.
Whoa.
But these 6 lings popping out, -3 drones. I don't know if he can bring it back from here.
No, it's tough to bring it back from here. But what the reason why he lost that engagement was because he tried to mineral walk to the gas with which his overlord had vision on in the Terran's natural. But because he did that, the drones slid on top of each other too much that when he did a move command, like 3 or 4 of them all bugged out. And he shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have tried to drill to the gas in the Terran's natural. Like, that was the mistake. Like, he tried to do a drill command, which really messed up the AI of the drones.
Yeah.
Oh, these Marines.
Oh, that's a lot of lings. Oh. Wow, the Marines actually coming out here being he's gonna get around it. He targets the depot. What? He targets me?
No way. What the flying sweet Mary Jane did we just watch?
I can't believe he made that mistake there. That is crazy.
Nah, he attack moved the ground next to the depot to kill the Marines and barely clicked on the depot. Like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Oh my days.
That was his opportunity right there. That was everything.
That was the game.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't going to be like him winning the game right off of that, but like he would have killed a bunch of Marines. He would have brought a lot of the pressure off of himself. The timing attack would have been much worse. But here, I mean, yeah.
I'm so speechless about that. That's gnarly to me. Like, I can't even begin to explain. If he killed that bio ball, like, not only has he completely reset the relative power of and win percent of both sides, but he might even be slightly favorited after that.
Well, he's going to kill the assimilators in the bottom right a lot sooner than did Action. So, oh wait, the SCV is going to slip by. Look at the SCV goes down into the bottom right-hand corner. Maybe he can build a racks down there or something and kill that base. That would be hilarious.
That would be funny. Yeah.
The lings are on the outside, so they can't do anything about it. Is he going to build something down there? Maybe a factory? Just start making...
Well, that would be fun. That'd be
start making some.
The hilarious play would be making his tech. Yeah, rather than making that factory there, making it in the bottom right, it would have been really funny and cute. But there's also a chance of that going horribly wrong and that completely screwing him up if it gets caught before it finishes. So yeah, it's probably if he does do something like that, it'll be a Rax. Yeah.
Well, we will have Mutas out here shortly. Sulky has only one location he needs to block. We don't have an evolution chamber yet, so we don't have the confirmation of Crazy Zerg, but that's definitely on the table here. Let's see what he decides to go for. Light just getting 4 racks up. Everything's standard here. He doesn't need to do anything fancy. He's just got to play his standard game and deal with whatever Sulky tries to pull out. And he should be in a good spot. Armory on the way. Okay, we are going to see some Valkyries pop out here.
And after a 4x commitments, this is going to be an interesting situation. I mean, I still can't believe that Sulky did that. If I was in the Zerg dugout right now, I'd be preparing the speech that I was going to give Sulky after the game, regardless of whether or not he won or lost.
Yeah, that hurts. That definitely hurts. That's gonna cause him some nightmares here. He's gonna wake up
Yeah.
screaming in the middle of the night. He missed that.
That's how much of an aura Light
Accidentally
has.
clicked.
He makes you make mistakes like that. That's how much of a presence this guy has, which is wild to think about. Like, when else does Sulky make a mistake like that? Going to be coming into the natural, killing off one of these turrets, opens up a pocket to exploit. This depot that creates a wall in from earlier does make it a lot harder to cycle units down here to defend. So he's going to try and get his Marines shoved up against this depot, but you actually can't save that depot. You can kill that eventually.
Yeah, that depot's in a precarious position here. Was very helpful against Lings earlier, but should be able to get that. Keep bouncing the glaives here. Kill off some SCVs too. He gets an SCV for free. That's very nice. And I mean, Sulky's not out of this. He's got some play here left, for sure. What is his plan though? I'm really curious to see what his actual follow-up's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, he might just play relatively standard, but we see tanks and Valkyries coming out. Oh, great Spire. Okay.
Making the Spire great again here.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can get some good position on these Guardians. I mean, we do have already Valkyries out, right? So just putting them over the natural or something is probably not going to be cost efficient.
But you could use them defensively to help deal with the tank push, for example. Like, there is other avenues of utilizing Guardians here.
Yeah, absolutely. Very strong against the tank push. Let's see how many he makes. If he's going to make like a full, 6 or 8 or something, it does slow down a lot of your other tech if you do like a big commitment to Guardians right now.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, they are very guest heavy, and he's going to be also committing to a lot of sunken colonies. This base in the bottom right needs to be dropped, but this natural expansion still fully exposed. And with the high ground, as long as you got plenty of sunkens, that's not going to be bustable. But still needs to be careful about the Valkyries. The game could run amok if he makes a lot of Valkyries, like we saw Royal do earlier. The similar situation could transpire. But instead, Light is not going to be committing heavily into Valkyries. He's just going to be using them as point defense to get this tank push underway. And the response from Sulky is going to be these Guardians to sort of counter siege against that. So he's built a lot of sunkens to buy the time that he needs for those Mewers to morph into those Guardians, and while using these pockets of Scourge to zone out those Valkyries from being too relevant here.
He's going to have a big moment here when the Guardians come forward where he has to dive on top of the Valkyries. Here comes that push. The push from Light, but he goes for the shot on the Valkyries, and all the Valkyries go down at the same time. This is a great defense from Sulky. Light cannot push this. He's going to lose a bunch of these Marines on the exit here. Great
defense overall from Sulky. The Scourge were so clutch.
We have a dropship that's going to be the gambit here from Light, while throwing down a lot of starports here. Going to be going all the way up to 3 here to try and catch up in the anti-air and support production that he will need to deal with this. He might even just go into like mass cloaked wraiths or something. I don't know. He might just also just pump Valkyries or go straight into vessels, but yeah, now Sulky kind of flipping the script a little bit here and putting on pressure. Catches the dropship in the bottom right. Are you kidding me? What is going on in this game?
Sulky's got a few Guardians left. He's left the front a little bit open here, though. Diving on top of the Lurkers. They're not going down. The Lurkers are still alive.
Wow.
And the Guardians are pushing forward. He's going to be able to hold this, I think. Yeah, not enough Marines here to fight the Guardians. All the tanks gonna go down, and he's denying them mining in the natural. Sulky making it work right now.
Sulky,
this is so impressive.
Great again, like you said, and Sulky for president. I mean, it is the election, I think, right? So I mean, better maybe get your votes in for Sulky, guys. I mean, even when he's like making really crazy bad mistakes, he's still somehow turning a bad situation into a very, very playable game, and even looking very strong for him right now. 69 supply to 61. Got plenty of value out of those Guardians, which isn't always the case. Can be very difficult units to squeeze value out of. And here comes the Wraith response, like I thought. Yeah, Cloaked Wraith response I thought might be a possibility here, and we are going to be seeing that. He needs to be really careful not to like lose too many of these Scourge for free to trading to Light's very strong Wraith Micro. Light is he used to be the best in the business at Wraith Micro. That might still be the case. I'm not 100% sold on that, but he is basically the original gangster on Wraith Micro.
Ooh, we got the Devourer out here. Single Devourer does help out a lot in terms of revealing these wraiths at least, right? You're going to be able to see them once the acid spores are spread. But there are so many wraiths coming out here. Triple. Oh my god, so close. Triple Starport production means he's going to have so many wraiths. He also added on 3 control towers, though. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Well, what's he gonna do with 3 control towers here? Just pure like dropship wraith, or what are we doing?
Valkyries, I imagine. It could be Valkyries. Like, I imagine he's gonna pepper in some Valkyries. It might still be dropships as well. It won't be vessels, I don't think, because he can't afford to make that many vessels right now.
I love the spore colony ad right here.
Yeah, but you can actually range
we actually
down
need
this
another
Nidus. Yeah, you can actually get the Nidus in.
Yeah, that Nidus.
Ooh.
Oh, Hydra's pop out though. Ooh, Hydra's gonna kill a bunch of these.
That's actually huge. There's so much gas just disappeared. We have got the Lotto dropships coming in, but I mean, he lost a lot of wraiths there. If he was paying attention, I don't think he was paying attention though. I don't think he actually saw those dropships.
Well, he had the opportunity to see them. That's what matters. Having the lings just spread out everywhere. This man is just crazy. Sulky, is he going to be able to win this? It's all going to come down to this next drop. Going to come in with the wraiths. Just 2 wraiths left. The big drop here. Guardian's very good against dropships. Not a lot of units popping out here. Very slowly. Slowly popping out. Trying to fight against these Guardians. It's not going to work. Guardians just holding on to everything. Guardians making... their namesake here. Whoa, the fire bats! Oh, dude, sending back those drones just a little bit too early. He gets a lot of kills.
Yeah.
Is it going to be enough, though?
I don't know. This game might be a real tough nut for Light to swallow here, saying, like, it's crazy that, like, Sulky's just, like, batting him away like this. I thought for a second that Light would really dominate Sulky here, but he still can. It's just not like the game's over or anything, but, I mean, look at this. Stellar play from Sulky. Just, like, throws down a Dark Swarm here. He's also got a Defiler over here in the main base with some Hydras. He can throw down a Plague and then pick those off. Like, really stellar stuff. I'm so impressed. Like, I can't believe that he made such a critical mistake, and now he's playing like this afterwards.
Yeah, not holding the 8 racks very well, but... everything else, every other move has been just fantastic. It's not like Light's playing a bad game either, guys. He's really pulling out some great stuff. The tank push was really well timed, well executed, but the Guardian defense was fantastic. The dropship defense as well, just super on point. That first dropship that came out, I think that one was the most critical stop, right? He hit that with a pair of Scourge just as all the other chaos was going on the map, and shuts down Light, and GG is called. Light taps out.
Crazy.
Sulky takes it home for the Zerg.
That's just wild to me. Like, what is going on? Like, how can Sulky make such a blunder, which still keeps him really heavily behind in the game? And he's against a player of Light's caliber, and still makes it look like that. This guy is insane, saying.
Not just one blunder, but 2, right? He lost so many drones to the early 8 racks, and then he messed up with his lings as well.
Yeah, and he attacked the depot. I can't believe he messed up that much early on and still made it look relatively easy against someone of Light's caliber. And like we say, Light wasn't playing bad, guys. Like, Light was playing some stellar Starcraft as well. This is wild.
All right, let's go to score screen here.
Damn, man. Crazy.
All right.
Can you bring up a screen share of your score screen?
Oh, did I close the screen?
Yeah.
Shit. Second, I'm just making it right now.
No worries. Damn, guys, there's some wild games. It's crazy how back and forth it was all night as well.
Yeah, that was a really good series.
Well, I can say we got the semi-finals we wanted, so to speak.
Yeah.
Really fucking crazy game. Hard to call as well, because like even when players were behind, there was still like lots of opportunities to come back, and some of them actually were completely flipping it. Just some wild Starcraft, man. Just really emphasizing the poker nature of the game.
Mm-hmm. All right. Should we wrap up?
Yeah, wrap up.
Oh. Damn it, it's got the content has paid promotion in the middle of the screen. How did that happen?
I don't know, but put your own little thing over it.
Here, where is it?
This is like best case scenario for us. We got a really back and forth series, and Zerg still won, so we also get a ZVP finals. Like this is like going crazy in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it wild that you can get that good at Zerg, where you can be in those kinds of really dire situations that we saw like Hero and Sulky get into? Yeah, even though they were like so critically behind, they can still make the game look even remotely playable and actually sometimes turn it around completely. Like, it's just fucking crazy.
Wild.
And Zerg's like the hardest race to do that with as well.
I don't know how they make that happen. Like they're one with the race, man. They're one with the overmind or something.
Yeah. It does seem like that.
Crazy how they're. It's crazy how they're able to figure out like how many drones they can make. You know, before they have to commit to their tech or whatever. They're like, I just make it. You know, here I make 7 drones, and in this situation I make 4. You know what I mean? And this one I can make 12.
Well, that's what.
And, they just know exactly.
Because good Zergs are good at abusing the strengths of their units. Like they got good muta micro, they use their lings well, they can control their defilers well, blah blah blah. But one thing that they don't have is they don't have that like critical understanding of like how to not die to timings. And like good Terran players, that's how they beat Zergs. Like they get bullied by Zergs up until a certain point because of how good, like you see players like Mong, they just can't hang in TVZ, right? They haven't got that critical threshold of ability to kind of flip the script on the Zerg. But once you do get there and you can abuse those timings, it's really difficult for the Zerg because there's just windows where you're dead if you don't calculate that. If you don't adjust for that window, you're just dead. The lurkers don't finish in time, or the sunglers don't finish in time, or the defilers are out in time. You just die. But these Zergs are so fucking good that they like min-max their builds and adjust their builds in very slight ways, dependent on the situation of where you spawn on the map and what the relative timings of what the Terran player could be doing, relative to how many barracks he made, relative to when he built his factory, all this bullshit. They can calculate that on the fly instantly. It's fucking wild.
Guardians was just such a good play in that last game. Holy shit. So fucking good.
I was struggling to contain my excitement in that game.
And the fact that he sent like just 4 across the map and kept the rest back at home for the counter drop.
Yeah.
The chef's kiss, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, Light actually blundered there, in my opinion. Like he tried to do like the technique where you like, you know, drop in a line, but he actually should have just dropped all underneath the Guardians and just popped out, because the drop ships actually ran over like the buildings, like the Hydrogen and stuff, and like the units didn't actually pop out that optimally. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it actually would have been better if he just dumped out all his units underneath the Guardians directly, rather than try to unload in a line like that.
Yeah. Well, mistakes were made on both sides. What the hell was that Ling attacking? I mean, that's happened to me before, but that's embarrassing, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, can you imagine being like ASL champion material and you're making blunders like that? That's weird. But he still wins the game. Still, I'd give him a speech though. I'd still, like I said, even though he won the game, I'd still have a speech prepared for him. Like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. I don't know what the better solution is. You gotta like click the mini map or something, make sure you don't click anything. I don't know. I don't know.
So crazy to me.
So hard. He was working so hard to get the perfect positioning on his Lings before he engaged. Like running up right up on top of everything, getting his Lings mixed up in all the Marines.
Yeah.
And then he fucking
because he was so close to the wall, he like clicked the ground slightly to the right of where the depot was, but just barely clicked on the pixel that still clicked on the depot. You know what I mean? Like it was that kind of bullshit. Yeah,
for sure. Well,
crazy.
That's rough, but he's just godlike, absolute godlike. Let's wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute godlike performance out of Zerg today, especially Soul Key with that final game, dude. The Guardian transition was fantastic. The presence of mind from Soul Key throughout this series was amazing to watch.
Yeah,
but still a great back and forth between these two.
Yeah, I mean, all night long we just had a great back and forth series, and then, like you said, in the final game, I was so impressed by just how well mapped everything was for Soul Key. Like trying to pioneer himself as the Flash of Zerg, but not quite making it. I mean, the depot mistake of like clicking the ground slightly to the right of the depot, and then like blundering that entire opportunity to just gobble up all those Marines. Obviously, that's a huge blunder, but the fact that he came back after losing those drones and that opportunity is kind of nutty to think about. And how well calculated the Guardian transition was. Like the tank push hit right as the Guardians were just starting to morph, and he overmade Sunkens by about 50%, which is just barely enough to weather the storm of like 2-3 tanks shelling you. And he had enough Flock of Scourge to zone out the Valkyries, and when the Guardians did hatch, he pounced on the Valkyries and sniped all 3 of them with the split Scourge, which is that in and of itself is hard to execute, much less get all those other timings down crisp.
Yeah, that game is going in the file folder for like best of 2024, guys. That was an insanely good game from Soul Key, and Light. Absolutely no slouch. He had a great opener with the 8 racks. He had an excellently timed tank push. It's just awesome play out of Soul Key, and a small blunder with the Valkyries. Small blunder with the drop as well, not dropping directly under the Guardians, just kind of spreading them out, getting cleaned up there in the main base. I mean, you never see Guardians actually guarding things, but here they are, finally in 2024, being used properly, it seems.
Yeah, honestly, like with the earlier games of like playing Jack in the Box with the Nidus canals, it makes you wonder if like that was kind of somewhat of the original image they had for the game to be played like that. You know what I mean? Like that was closer to how the devs intended for the game to be played than we've ever seen in the modern era, maybe.
Maybe so. Well, Protoss versus Zerg finals. Not what we expected. I really thought that Terran was going to be able to take this one, but I am not at all unhappy with the result. I think that Zerg played a great series here. Again, so much back and forth. really, really close series. And with Zerg going up against Protoss, I'm expecting to see another nice close series. I mean, you can flop all season long, but if you pull it out in the
Right.
semifinals and the finals, then
That's when
we
it
might
counts.
see some great games. That's when it counts. That's when the money's on the table, and Zerg is maybe going to walk away with it all. We'll see. Protoss here. I mean, they're going to bring together just an insane squad, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'm super excited for it. Tonight has gone the best possible way. Like completely back and forth. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to win. And then you get the PVZ finals anyway. Like, as far as you and me are concerned, I'm sure this is like, Christmas come late.
Absolutely. No hate to the TVP. I mean, it's a great, fun matchup, but this is the one that we know a lot better, so it's going to be a great cast, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us here, and if you're still watching right now, please do me a favor, hit the first link in the description. It'll take you over to KCM's channel. Give him our thanks, leave a comment, leave a like on the video. Let him know that you appreciate the English cast, and that's it, guys. So we'll be taking off here. Shun, you'll be back next week for sure?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see you then.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Booyah.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't think I shared my screen. It's okay. There wasn't anything to see. It was just
No, I saw the
Protoss versus Zerg.
I saw that. I was watching it.
There's no score. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no score. I just saw like I just saw like the Protoss Zerg finals thing, but that's good enough. It's something to look at,
Mm-hmm.
There was a few eyeballs on it. Doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. It's all good.
Dude,
All right.
crazy.
Good shit. That was fun.
Yeah, really fun. But yeah, I was gonna tell you something off stream.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, I'm gonna end stream. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I know there's only like 1 or 2 of you left, but doesn't matter. Love you guys. I'll see you again very, very soon. Peace.